own mission here. Okay, everybody can start putting it all together. There's a few things I'll be talking about, and then they'll be taking the rest of the show. Okay, because they are the show. And like I said, and if you're in town or you're around, just know that we're going to have a big dance party. At the back, you'll see a pool. There's going to be a DJ, and we'll have all the same things that are happening tonight, but we'll have a lot of dancing and a lot of fun. And we'll also have a bar back there for people. And so what's happening is the graduating class, we'll be taking them out to dinner at 4:30, and then we'll get back here around 6:30, and then it gets dark around 7, and then we'll just start dancing and singing and being together. And even if you don't know us, just know that you're welcome to come, okay? Everybody is welcome to come and dance, all right? All right? So that's what this place is about, right? Thank you. And we'll get started in a couple minutes. Are you guys almost ready? Are you guys almost ready? Okay, well, they're ready, and you're ready, and I'm rough and ready. Okay, all right. All right. What? Oh, yeah, zeros. It's complicated. Oh, yeah, no, I thought it was 1. No, it's just zeros. Got to keep it simple. So what I'd like to do is every once in a while is that you can flip switch it, right? Yeah. Especially when they open up for questions. And then we would flip switch it. What? Oh, yes. I need everybody to put your cell phones, turn them off or on airplane mode right now. Right now, because there's a ton of them that are on. We're all addicted to them. Okay? So let's get them off, because what you're going to do is you're going to bombard my computers and steal the internet. And you're also going to leave here with a headache. Okay? So is this chair seen here? Do you think I should stay here or go here? Let them sit here. Probably go over there. Huh? Yeah.
I got it so they see your training website.
Yeah.
I think we're live already.
What? Can you tell? What?
I just don't bring my phone.
Yeah. You guys almost ready? Come on up. Okay, well, turn the camera on. You can do it now. It's all part of it, right? Hi. Here, you guys sit here. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you for everything.
You're welcome for everything. You're worth everything. Oh, no, no, no. You get to sit with her. Okay. I'll sit over here. I'm your sidekick. Here you go. Here's your mic. Okay, guys, you want to run the commercial? Or the beginning, I should say, not commercial. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah, run the commercial. Start it, would you? And then,
if you would like to celebrate with me for just 5 seconds, that would be awesome.
We are here in Ixtapa at Dr. Wolf's place for the activation tour. Check out all these beautiful people.
All
right. So we good to go? Live?
not yet.
Okay.
We're live on Telegram, but we're just waiting for these
We're
guys.
live in real life.
We're live.
Okay, Derek and
But let me
Miriam,
know when.
when you're speaking, speak into the mic close. Okay?
You didn't do the opening. You didn't do the opening? So we're on live now on Facebook? Okay, that's good. Wow. No, you go ahead. You just keep that.
All right.
Wow, we did
Hey,
it.
what's
We
up,
did it. All
Ixtapa?
right.
How's everybody doing tonight? Thank you. So, first things first, if anybody needs Spanish translations, please go sit in the back where Paul is. Paul, raise your hand. If anybody needs assistance, we have our buddy Paul doing translation for our Spanish speakers. It's very important for us to reach that community as well. So, my name's Derek,
And my name's Miriam.
and we are 1 week into a 6-week tour across Mexico, which we call the Activation Tour. And what we're about to share with you guys tonight is what we're doing all around this beautiful country and what we did back in September and October in the United States. We did a 30-city tour in September and October, reaching just so many beautiful and brilliant minds across the U.S., and now we're doing the same thing in Mexico. I'm just going to give you a brief intro into why we're doing this, and then we're going to start things off with Miriam. We're going to hear from Dr. Wolf tonight. I'm going to share a presentation, and if there's a desire for it, I will perform my music as well before we go to the bonfire for the rest of the evening. But yeah, so I'll tell you more about my story once my talk comes up, but let's talk just about this activation tour. Has anybody had a difficult last 2 years? I'm assuming if you found your way here that it's part of your journey, right? So we've all been dealing with a number of different circumstances. We're going to get into some of those, heavy things, some of the problems, but tonight is really about solutions. Did anybody come here for solutions, looking for ideas, and I know that Dr. Wolf does a great job in this area in regards to health, which is obviously not just physical health, but mental health, spiritual health. We're going to be talking about that a lot tonight. So it's been a difficult time and a traumatizing time for a number of people. And many people have, as we say in these different communities, woken up. Anybody felt like that over the last 2 years? If you weren't already, now you're asking questions about the systems around you, maybe rethinking your health, rethinking government, rethinking everything, right? Relearning, unlearning, all that whole process. And so we've been on that journey as well for a number of years. And we realized last year, with the state of the world and the way it is, that it was a really important time to get out and talk to people face to face, because I myself have been, I was deleted off YouTube in October 2020 after 10 years, 5 million views, 65,000 subscribers, all gone because I said the wrong things about COVID, right? And that was just one level. The censorship has happened to me and so many people at this point. But what they can't stop is this. In-person gatherings. They tried to, but they didn't work, and they failed at that. Let's celebrate that for a moment. They failed at keeping us apart from each other. And we saw this over and over again in the United States. We had on average 90 people showing up at every event. In San Francisco, where they already have vaccination passports, proof of vaccination implemented, we had 150 people show up. And these are people who are hungry for solutions, who are ready to start growing their own food, or taking care of their own health, or pulling their money out of the banks, or learning new skills, or buying land together. So many different solutions that people are pursuing, right? And because of that, and I'll say this, the Activation Tour was kind of born out of the Greater Reset. You guys familiar with the Greater Reset? Some of you probably been to one of our events. And this is just basically a movement of people who are coming together of all walks of life, all stripes, saying that we're sick of people at the top trying to organize our lives and tell us what's best for us. We're not seeking to run for office. We're not seeking to overthrow the government. We're not seeking to sit on the sidelines in apathy. We're saying, let's build better systems. Let's take our time, energy, support, etc. away from these people and focus on being around people who do value us and do respect us. And let's build better healthcare systems. Let's build better ways to relate to each other, right? And that's what this entire tour is about. How can we travel around and get people to think in terms of action? Recently, I've been saying that it's not enough to be awake, really. We need to be activated, right? Because you can be awake and watch things get worse and happen to you, right? Many of you I know came from Canada and elsewhere. You chose to gamble on what might, what's on the other side. I don't know. It's scary. I'm making big changes for my family. You had the courage to take that step, as Dr. Wolf calls it, to be the brave heart, right? I think that's amazing. Can we just give a round of applause for everybody who's taken that step? But I'll just wrap up and hand it over here to Miriam, because I know you have a lot to share, babe. But it's just been a beautiful journey. We started in the US because it felt like it was an important time to get out and connect with people. They're telling us to stay inside. They're telling us to put on masks, to not look at each other, to not smile, to not hug, to not interact. Well, we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to do that exact thing. We're going to travel the United States and host events, host meditations. Also, I want to shout out everybody who participated earlier. This tour has 2 parts. This evening event that we're about to do, meditation, talks, music, but also we do a second component, what we call the Community Action Day. And this looks different in every city. Sometimes we volunteer at community gardens, urban farms, we clean up a beach, we clean up a park. Today we went out and passed out some COVID truth flyers in Ziwa with a group of here. Thank you to everybody who came out there today. We had about 20 people gathered, and I encourage everybody, if you're not familiar with the Ziwa Tanejo Freedom Cell, to get connected with them. They're doing different meetups and actions. We'll talk more about that in just a bit. But yeah, so we're coming to cities, we're sharing our ideas, but we also want to recognize, especially because we're in Mexico, that we're not here to say we have all the answers. Please listen to us, just follow us, and we'll fix things for you, right? We want to come to different places and contribute and share and give back in every way we can. And we also want to learn from the locals. And we'll be talking a lot about that tonight. Our message really is focused on how we can bridge this apparent separation between expat community and local Mexicans, and how we're going to need that unity to thrive into the future of what we're facing. So I've said enough already. I'll let Miriam take it away.
So yes, just like Derek is saying, lots of changes happening, lots of changes within your lives, I see. Welcome to Mexico. Thank you for being here. Thank you for bringing light to Mexico as well, all your knowledge, all your wisdom, and hopefully more and more continues to sprout throughout the community in different ways. So thank you for being here. This is the activation tour, but I like to call it the courage tour, because that's what it's going to take. Just like he calls the Braveheart Nation, it's going to take courage to step out of our comfort, to recognize what is required of us right now, what life is requiring of us, and to take the steps necessary to make those changes. So, welcome to the Courage Tour. So, yeah.
One more thing before I do hand it over to Miriam. She's going to give her presentation. We have this shirt. We meant to be doing this on every stop. This is our 5th event and our first one to remember to do it. But we're going to have this shirt up on our table over there with my books and shirts. And we want all of you to sign whatever you like. And we're going to take this shirt with us through the entire tour across all of Mexico, and get messages of love and hope and inspiration. So if you want to leave us a message, it'll be on that table back there. All right. And you can take it from here, baby.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So my name is Miriam, Miriam Gomez. I am Derek's partner, but more than that, I am a community member, just like you are. And as a community member, I've noticed, and at least what I want to bring to the table, one of the things that I like to bring to the table is meditation as a tool. And because I've seen it work in my life so powerfully that I want to share with other people. And so many people share their experiences with me that I just find it so hard to not share it. So I started last year during the activation tour in September and October. I was inspired by everybody that I was talking to start a group, to challenge myself to do more meditation, to practice more. And so I started a 21-day challenge, meditation challenge, and then I invited people on the tour to join me. And then after the tour, I was inspired to just do a weekly meditation with the Freedom Cell Network. And Derek will speak a little bit more about the Freedom Cell Network if you're not familiar. And so every week, I invited a teacher from the network. I put the call out, hey, this is my idea. Anybody wants to support it, let's go. And a bunch of teachers from the network reached out. They said, this is what I'm offering. This is the wisdom I can share with the network. And I would love to guide a meditation. So every Sunday, we get together and meditate. And now we're transitioning for this month of March. We are going to be focusing all of our energy on one global meditation through the Freedom Cell Network and beyond. So I invite all of you, if you know the power of meditation and you know the power of meditating together as a group, and then you know the power of that multiplied by so many of us praying together, meditating together at the same time across the world. And if you don't, then I can share that with you. But I invite you to meditate with us March 20th at 11:11 a.m. Central, and for 1 hour. And this meditation is focused on peace, world peace. And I know that sounds very cheesy, but it's the truth. We can feel the peace within inside of us, cultivate that peace within inside of us. And when we meditate together, we can literally spread that peace to the world around us, to the people around us. It is very possible. If you like science, science has proven it. So put that on your calendars. And if you want more information, just get with me and I'll send you all the information you need. So my talk is called The Time Is Now. And why is the time now? Because, and excuse me as I look down on my notes, I never thought I would be talking in front of groups of people. I still get very, very nervous. And the things that help me with that nerve is to write my notes and keep me aligned so that I don't go on fall in tantrums. So thank you guys for your patience, and thank you so much for being here. So why is the time now? The time is now because we all have grown up in a very insane world. And more and more of us are becoming more and more aware of just how deep that insanity goes. About 8 years ago, I found myself drunk, completely drunk, after one of the parties of many, many parties that I was going to, in the back seat of my sister and her boyfriend's car. And they're jamming to some Bob Marley. Who's familiar with Bob Marley? They're jamming to Bob Marley, and they're telling me while I'm drunk all these different things that is going on around the world. And I'm listening deeply to the music. I'm focused. And I'm just back there, like, taking it all in. And this is me in the middle of depression for many years. And obviously, I was going down a spiral. And then I asked myself, well, what do we do? They didn't have a question. They didn't have an answer for me. They just knew what was happening. So that's where we left it. We are truly the only ones that are holding ourselves back. It's not the government, it's not the corporations or the Rockefellers or whoever you want to put at the top of the pyramid. It's none of them. It really is truly ourselves, and it's our doubts, our fears, and our insecurities. That's what we are choosing to let guide us and are choosing to let hold us back. And I've been there, and I still am, and I'm working on it. You guys know that we choose our perspective, right? You choose your perspective. So me personally, I choose to see the way that the government, the corporations, the Rockefellers, what I like to call the predator class, how they go on about their plans, I choose to see that as a clear reflection of what we human beings are capable of. Now, they're working out of pure evil. They are. And us, we have the chance to work out of good, out of love for ourselves, and out of love for humanity. Looking at them, just how efficiently they're manifesting the world that they want to create. They are organized, they have their vision clear, they know where they're going or where they want to take things, and they have actionable steps to get there. And they have all the different puzzles of the puzzle piece doing their part to make it happen. And just like that, we're capable of that intelligence. We have that same intelligence. They know our psychology more than we know ourselves sometimes, and that's the truth for the most part, for the majority of us. But we have that same intelligence. We can learn about ourselves and our own psychology and not let others manipulate us. We can become very, very clear of the vision, where we want to take the world, where we want to be personally, and we can take those actionable steps to get there. We need to be just as clear or probably even more. We need to be just as focused or probably even more. We need to be more energized. We need to be more concentrated. We need to be more organized. But many of us are playing out the same stories, the same storylines since our childhood, and that's called programming. The same predator class has, you guys all probably already know this, but they have set up society to where it has set up different storylines that we have chosen throughout our childhood that are gonna make sure that we're safe, make sure that we're okay, right? And those different storylines just aren't always the best for us, at least anymore. They're not serving us any longer. Those storylines are the struggles of our doubts, our fears, and our insecurities. And I say that now is the time because now is the time to recognize how beautiful, how powerful, and how free we truly are, and connect with that. We need to welcome light in. Love, light. I know this sounds hippy-dippy. Think about it what you will, if you will, like that. But it's truth. We're working with light. Light is by our side. And whenever a fear pops up, oh snap, they're gonna close my bank account. Oh snap, I'm afraid that I'm gonna get locked here. All these different fears, there is that one split moment for us to choose light and love. When we see and when we recognize that fear pop up. When we recognize a doubt pop up, there is that split moment to become aware of it, to recognize it for what it is, and to choose love. Same with our insecurities. Take a nice deep breath with me. Let's make the necessary changes now, my friends. Take the action, and it starts internally. Choose wisely. It starts with the mind and the heart. We're talking about healing. Healing physically, emotionally, mentally. We're talking about healing from the evil that has been created on this earth, that has been brought about, and how it's affected us in different ways. We're talking about restoring our truth, which for me, it's wholeness, it's freedom. It's that I'm ever connected to God's source energy, light, spirit, whatever you want to call it. Always guiding, always loving, always supportive. And that is here to guide us through these times. And that is here for us to tap into at all times. So, there's a lot for us to do. As you already know, there is a lot of work for us to do. I think job number one is that we need to take really good care of ourselves. We need to help ourselves. Job number two that I feel like we have is we need to help each other, help our communities around us, build a better world, right? So building communities, that's what a lot of us are focused on right now, building community, building community. We need our community. And what is that? What is community, right? So for a lot of us, and this might not be for you, but for a lot of us, that means buying land, permaculture, learning different skills. So like permaculture, at least a baseline, right? Permaculture, building natural buildings, regenerative practices, all those different things. And then also relationships. We're all building different new relationships. So maybe perhaps some of us, I'm gonna be very real with us, we need to learn communication skills. A lot of us are still at the age that we are, and we don't have great communication skills. And I believe in us. We really can achieve what we want. We also need to recognize and be real with ourselves that we have a lot of learning to do, a lot of focus, a lot of concentration, and interpersonal skills. Sometimes we annoy the heck out of each other. We irritate each other. Sometimes we can't stand each other, even in this community. We don't always treat each other the best that we know that we possibly can. And that needs to change. That is just a reflection of how we treat ourselves. And that needs to change. That's where it actually starts. I'm like, Mom. And we need to learn through mindfulness. That's another skill to have. We're also dealing with the world around us trying to go downhill. The predator class trying to take the world into their hands, into the direction that we don't want it, but they want to, and they're going full throttle. So that's another thing that we're dealing with. And then also, of course, we're dealing with our own personal struggles internally, but also we're dealing with family. A lot of families are splitting up right now. A lot of families trying to figure out what's their next move, lots of stress there. Jobs, right? A lot of people losing their jobs or trying to figure out what's going to be their income moving forward. Relationships, and I can't read my handwriting, so. So meditation and prayer, that's where I come in with this talk. Let's cue that music. Lightly, very lightly, please. So I speak about meditation and prayer because in these times, and forever and ever, and probably way before I even started talking, before any of us were aware about any of this, I feel like the goal here is to be our absolute possible, as much as possible, absolute best versions of ourselves. I'm working on that. We're all humans. We're all gonna make mistakes and everything. So dramatic with the music, right? But I mean it. I feel like right now is the time to work on becoming the absolute best versions of ourselves. To be centered, focused, energized as we face all of the challenges that we're facing right now and all of the challenges that are to come. We need to be good people on a good path and not get derailed, not get distracted, and also enjoy the heck out of life. Oh my goodness, there's so much to be thankful for. There's so much goodness to take in, and enjoy it. I want you guys to really be present and enjoy this life. As much as I'm enjoying you guys right now and my life and my experience, and that I get to share this with you. So thank you guys so much for giving us this opportunity. Thank you, Dr. Wolf. I'm gonna take a sip of water, and go ahead and take a sip of water, because if I'm feeling dehydrated, you probably are too. Now, I'm about to share a couple of gifts of meditation, gifts that meditation offers us, but this list is very long. Just a few things that came to my mind as I was writing this, and I wanted to share this with you, is a reminder that, for one, before I get to that, is remember that the body, the mind, the emotions, the spirit, it's all interconnected. We truly are one being of all those parts, right? So whether you choose to be in fight or flight mode, or rest and digest, or restoration mode, that's your choice. That's our choice. It is, no matter which one you choose, it's going to create a cascade of effects on your body, good or bad, on your mind, good or bad, on your spirit, your energy, your soul, good or bad. And so meditation is one of those tools that is completely free, but I don't want to say that, because you gotta put your energy to it. You gotta pay your time. You gotta put your time into it. And it's one of those tools that the more you practice it, the more it offers. And it's one of those tools that if you stop practicing it for whatever reason, it still continues to offer you the benefits. So meditation is a tool for turning on the switch of the parasympathetic nervous system. And you guys have Dr. Wolf here. He's teaching you guys how to heal. So that's big. It also offers us what I call the observer's point of view. So you're the observer now through your meditation. And now, whenever you're in whatever situation, good or bad, whatever you want to call it, you have that observer's point of view. Perhaps you're no longer extremely affected by the world around you or whatever's going on in that situation. So you have a broader awareness. in that awareness, you are now more capable of recognizing what's no longer serving you. And I'm talking about that internal world, and I'm also talking about the external world, the people around you, the situations around you, the ways that you engage, that you interact with the world around you. And you're more capable of recognizing what is serving you. And perhaps some of us are like, yeah, I know what's good for me. It's like, I can't seem to make the step forward though. I'm stuck. No, you're not. We're not stuck. We're not stuck. We're not stuck in our ways. No, that's an excuse. Such a good excuse. We are human beings, and just like the little ones, we are always learning, always growing. At least that's for me, that's my truth, and that can be for you too. So we can continue to change in good ways. Meditation offers us the gift of mindfulness. And on that note, I want to address this. I noticed a lot of people just in this very short tour in Mexico. I noticed a lot of anger. I'm noticing a lot of anger in a lot of you. And I think I understand where it's coming from. And I say I think because I've had conversations with most of you and most of the people during this tour. So I'm gonna give it a go. I believe it's coming from, okay, so you guys are expressing yourselves saying, not all of you, expressing yourselves in this anger saying, why are people still wearing the mask? Why are people covering their children's faces with the mask? Why are they believing all of this COVID propaganda? Why are they, they're COVIDiots, by the way, others will use that word on us. Why don't they just get it? And we're in Mexico, so this is specific to Mexico. I can understand the anger, especially if somebody comes up to you with their mask on and you're going about your day peacefully and you don't have a mask on and they're nagging you, like, get your mask on. Yeah, that can be angering, like, mind your business. But we get angry too. And what I'm seeing, what's common out here for me, what I'm seeing is that we're not taking the time to try to understand the other people behind that mask. And quite frankly, that's not going to be possible if we don't learn Spanish. If we don't learn the necessary skills to try to connect with the people around us. We're in Mexico, guys. COVID is only one of the things that the predator class is throwing at the world around. Next is war. Next is whatever they want. There's going to be a lot of things that you might feel in your heart that you want to, or at least I hope, that you want to try to connect one-on-one with the human beings around you to try to understand them so that they try to understand you. And perhaps by you being an example, they decide to take their mask off. They decide not to take the shot. They decide, hey, you know what? I actually followed those links and I read all of them. Thank you so much for sharing with me. My family and I decided not to do it. Thank you. We're gonna choose differently. So that's not possible. And I'm telling you this from experience. So many good experiences can happen, but you gotta learn Spanish. You gotta make the effort to communicate with other people around you, with the communities here, because ultimately if we're trying to build community, that's what it's gonna take. So on behalf of all of them, I'm sorry that you're angry, and please forgive us as we are learning what is true in this world under all the psychological manipulation, under all of the bullshit media. Have patience and try to lead me by example and try to have really good information with you next time. So, So yeah, I think connecting with empathy, empathy, I think it's our superpower, because the predator class can't connect with empathy. We can connect with each other one-on-one, try to understand each other, try to help each other out. So meditation, it's very simple. It can get complicated if you want it to, but it doesn't have to be. And and I would love to teach you just how simple it is. So, would you like to join me on a meditation? Yes! Okay, so go ahead and get comfortable. Now, meditation can be practiced for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. You can go an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, but don't think about that if you're new to meditation. A misconception in the community is that we need to clear our minds. That's when we're in meditation. And that can happen. We can get to the point where our minds are completely cleared of thought. And I think that just happens naturally as we practice, as we put in the effort in our concentration each and every day, or however often you practice. I like to shoot for each and every day, but we're all human. I don't even do that. Also too, a lot of people say that you have to be completely quiet. And I say for my beginners, absolutely, preferably in a quiet space. But at the end of the day, we're dealing with a, what is that word, tumultuous? Crazy world that it's not always going to be as peaceful and as serene around us. And so I like a little bit of challenge. So if I feel like I need to meditate, if my mind, my body feels like it needs to meditate, and it's not perfectly quiet outside or it's not perfectly peaceful outside, I'm going to meditate either way. If I'm in a bar and I need to breathe and relax, I'm going to meditate. Even with all the music and all the people banging their heads or whatever, drinking alcohol, doing their thing. Because that's like a challenge, and we need to challenge ourselves. We need to challenge ourselves out of our comfort. So go ahead and get comfortable. Make sure your feet are flat on the ground. Maybe you uncross your legs, you uncross your arms, your hands are comfortably on your lap, face up or face down. Now you want to make sure that your back is nice and straight. And now you can have your back leaning on your chair if that's very comfortable for you. I also like to have excuse me, my back free from the support. That helps me focus even deeper on my concentration. You can close your eyes if you'd like, or you can keep them open, whatever feels comfortable for you. If you keep them open, focus on a point 2-3 feet in front of you. Something that's not moving, something that's not distracting. Straight in front of you. And take a nice deep breath in through your nose. Feel the air filling your belly comfortably. And then out through your nose. A few more deep breaths like that. And as you're taking your breaths, feel your body relax deeper and deeper into your chair. Relieve those muscles of the tension. And all of us, we hold stress in different parts of our body. So we'll take a moment to relax even deeper by bringing that awareness to that part of our body. If you feel any stress at all, perhaps it's in your forehead, in the space between your eyebrows, your eyes, your nose, your cheeks. So take a deep breath and relax. Relax your eyes, relax your cheeks, your jaw. Perhaps you feel tension even lower, so you take a deep breath and you relax your shoulders, your back, your neck. You feel even more relaxed. Relax your hands, your fingers, your toes. Okay. Now we let the breath take on a natural rhythm. We're not forcing it. We use that awareness, that ability of imagination to follow our breath as it flows in through the nose, fills our belly, and it flows out. Now, if you find yourself distracted by sounds around you, that's okay. You can take a moment to allow your ears to listen, to just hear the sounds. Si sientes que te estás distrayendo por los sonidos alrededor de ti, está bien. Darle un momento a los oídos para que escuchen todos los sonidos. We're not labeling the sounds, we're not judging. We're simply taking them in, telling the body this is our environment, telling the mind this is where we're at. And then we breathe back. We breathe our awareness back into our breath. Este solo es un momento para decirle a la mente y al cuerpo, aquí estamos. Esto es lo que está alrededor de nosotros. Respiramos profundo. Y ahora traemos esa concentración a la respiración de nuevo, diciéndole a la mente, pero al momento vamos a meditar. And that's just a moment to tell your mind and your body, this is where we're at. But right now, our focus is on meditation. And if you find yourself drifting with your thoughts, it's okay. There's no need to judge yourself. There's no need to get lost in the thoughts. If it's important thoughts, they will come back to you at a better time. If you're a very visual person, you can let that thought drift away like a cloud, flowing in and flowing out of your mind. And you're okay with that. And then you continue to bring your awareness to your breath. Si estás perdiéndote en el pensamiento, está bien. Simplemente una práctica buena es pensar en los pensamientos, verlos como que si fueran nubes. Tranquilamente entran y tranquilamente los dejamos ir. Y si es algo importante, ese pensamiento regresará a otro tiempo, en otro tiempo más adecuado. Y sentimos la paz con eso. Y luego nos enfocamos en la respiración de nuevo. It's a simple practice of concentration, of focus, while at the same time feeling relaxed. take a deep breath in through your nose, fill up your belly deeply and profound, and exhale out. To come out of your meditation, you can wiggle your toes, your fingers, shake your shoulders, do a little shake, stretch. You can even get up and stretch if you'd like. Shake it off. Wow, you guys did really well. Good job. I can tell some of you where your body's like, I'm done with this. And you just want to come out of it. But that's what you work through. Our short attention span. Thank you, cell phones. Thank you, social media. But yeah, guys, a very simple practice that we can incorporate to help us be more focused, more centered. It's something that helped me very quickly, I'll tell you. It helped me whenever in 2019 I got in a car accident, very bad three-car accident, and in a split moment, at the same time that I knew that I needed to slam on the brakes, I also knew to relax my body like in meditation. And like the thought came to me just like that, drunk drivers don't get hurt because they're fully relaxed. And I learned how to relax my body through my meditation. So I did that, and thankfully I wasn't hurt. I didn't feel any pain the next day, and nobody was hurt. Also, meditation has helped to keep my cool, while getting robbed at gunpoint. So yeah, guys, very serious situations, very real life situations. It's everyday life, and just as like it is me being present with you whenever you come to me and you say, hey, this is my name, this is who I am, and you're sharing your part of you, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about building good relationships. You got to be really good, present human being that gets really good at getting the ego out of the way if you want to build good relationships with your partners, whatever. Whatever floats your boat. But thank you guys so much. If you want more information on the meditation this March 20th, come talk to me. If you want more information on meditation, come talk to me. We have lots of teachers and lots of recordings that I can share with you, depending on where you're at, what interests you. And I believe people are going to gather on the 20th at the park where we were today, passing out flyers. So I say show up and meet new people probably, and see who's on the same page and wants to meditate together. So thank you guys so much. Thank you so much. You're amazing. You know that, right? You know you're amazing.
Thank you. So I guess this is where it's my turn. Oh, golly gee. Okay, I'll sit over here. You guys are going to be coming back up, right? Okay. All right.
Thank you, Miriam.
Thank you. So this is truly what it's all about. It's not about anything else. You know, my partner, me and Lori, before this thing even started, we decided we wanted to get out of Canada. We wanted to come down here and open up something. So we didn't run from Canada. We didn't run from anything. We came to something. And I want you to really get this. Stop running. You have to stop running. And I want you to understand something, and some of you aren't going to take some of the things I say because I can be a little bit abrupt. And truth is a hard pill to swallow. But before this even started, life was not looking good. Everybody was stressed out. Everybody was worried about their finances. Families were fighting with each other. People were drinking and eating things they shouldn't be and thinking things they shouldn't be. You're not going to like this. I was awake before this started to happen, but then it lighted a fire under my butt. And it made me realize that I have unlimited potential. Me and my small team have put this together in 6 months. We have already trained 140 practitioners since we came down here. We had a hurricane blow this down and then rebuild it. And that was in the first 2 weeks we were here. It's all about solutions. So understand that. Things weren't good before COVID. Yo, are you crazy? You're crazy, right? And understand something. These tyrants, they deserve to be here as much as you do. They're the wake-up call for you. There's a lot of you that aren't going to end up dead because you ate yourself to death or drank yourself to death or smoked yourself to death, because now you're going to wake up. But what's going to happen when all the convoys are done and the protesting's done? What's going to happen? Going to get fat and lazy again? Understand something. The only change that needs to happen is the one in here. And understand this. The tyrants have been here since the beginning of time. They're as normal to be here as anything else. They'll probably always rule the world. There's 7 billion of us and maybe 50,000 of them. And all we do is complain and explain. During this whole time, I've never been scared. I haven't gotten angry. I have not gotten angry at them. Deborah, you don't know what you're talking about, please. That's for you. I am not angry at them. If I get angry at them, then I ruined myself. Deborah gets angry at them because that's why she's got to prove that I do. I don't. If I did, then I'd be wasting my energy. I teach one thing: mind your own business. Stand up for yourself. Let me tell you something. There's the Great Reset that they're trying to sell us. Then Miriam and Derek come along and they give us the Greater Reset. The Greater Reset is personal. It's about you. There's not going to be a world reset. The reset has to happen personally. And that helped me reset myself and find even unlimited potential in myself. Now they're starting the activation tour. What's the activation tour? Well, guess what? You got to activate self-love and self-care. One law, one love. It's about unconditional self-love for yourself. If you don't have unconditional self-love for yourself, you've got nothing. You can't give what you don't have. What you can have, you can give. The wars aren't going to anger me. They've only begun. They're just taking a breath right now. No matter what happens, I'm not going to get angry. I'm going to focus on our project. I'm going to focus on the people that I love and the things that I love to do. I'm going to keep focused on my passion and purpose if I don't buy into their agenda or their story. You ask anybody here, I don't let any of that into this resort. I don't let gossip into this resort. I'll ask people to leave this resort. I will not put up with it. They want you to talk about COVID. They want you to talk about the V. They want you talking about their agenda. That's the distraction. I think, it's the majority of the population rule. 92% of the population has an autoimmune disease. The only reason why they moved on us for the Great Reset is because we're spoiled rotten. The doing is they're going to clean up things. They're just going after the easy pickings. They're going after the people that are doing this. They're going after the people that are consuming themselves. Oh, they might knock off a couple of big mouths like me, but I don't care if I live one more day. I'm going to live my authentic self. I'm going to hold the Braveheart line. I'm going to teach people that you're not yourself. I'm going to teach people that these people have been around forever. Your spirit was God-given, but we were manipulated. Our brains were manipulated. Who in the hell needs 90% of a subconscious? That's just a storage shed for beliefs. That was for them to fill up with all these disgusting, low-vibrating beliefs. If every one of you had unconditional love for yourself, this would be over already. And you wouldn't be turning on the radio to find out what's the next move, because you'd only be moving on yourself. If everybody minded their own business, I'm not protesting anymore. I'm not getting angry anymore. I'm taking all my energy and I'm going to create a community. I'm going to teach people that they cannot follow me. They have to find themselves and be their own leader. That they have to take a stand on the decisions, what they drink, what they think, and what they eat. You have to get rid of your toxic family, your friends, your toxic food, your toxic habits. There's a corner store on every corner because we go there. There's drive-thrus on every corner because we use them. The medical system was born from out of Nazi Germany, and 99% of the people in here use them. So don't tell me, because I know. I'm not here for the 999 people out of 1,000. I'm here for the 1 out of 1,000. The person that wants to wake up. The person that wants to take a stand. The person that doesn't care if somebody laughs at them or thinks they're full of shit. I'm not even getting started yet. I've been here for only 6 months. Take a look what I did. This place was going down in 3 weeks. I revamped the whole place, built the juicer, built the volleyball court, taught 5 different classes. Does that sound like somebody who's angry or scared? You can't be angry and scared and get anything done. You'll lose your focus. I don't care what the rest of the world's going to do. I'm going to work on every individual person and try to see if they can find inner peace and hold it, no matter if there's chaos around them. You're not yourself until there's chaos and you don't get disturbed by it. That's what it's really about. And what's community? Why don't you stop judging? Why don't you stop talking about each other? There it is right there. You judge yourself so much, you got to judge others. We've made it so easy for them. What's going to happen after all the convoys get tired and they go home? What's going to happen after all the protests and they give up? They're not going to give up on us. They've already decided. They're asking for more than they want because they're going to take half of what they got because we gave it to them. 7 billion people, 50,000 of them. And all you had to do was love yourself. All you had to do was make a high vibrational choice. You could have drank better. You could have smiled all day with a slight smile connected to your breath. You could have walked away from the bullshit and the gossip. Tell me that I partaked in any V-talk, C-talk. I won't do it. Why? Because I'm scared? I'm not scared. Why? Because I'm focused. You wouldn't have a tent to sit under. Now this tent's going to be for anybody that lives in the area, for anything they want to do. I'm doing my part. I don't see anybody else getting on a show and saying, listen, bring your doctors on. Bring your scientists, bring your government. I want them on my show. I know 1 and 1 are 2, they're not 11. But understand something. They're going to win. Do you know why? Because we're all adulterated. Because we don't love ourselves enough. We don't care for ourselves enough. We go around looking for things to fix. other people instead of ourselves. Inner peace, peace only happens inside. Are you ready for this? The world's never going to change. It's never going to change. Okay? And please do not throw rocks at me. Trump's not coming back. Jesus isn't coming back, but we can act like Jesus, can't we? Wouldn't that be something? Unconditional love for our brothers and our sisters. Why do you think there's 4,500 different religions? Because they want to divide us. We're all spirits, came from the same creator, but we will kill out of religion, won't we? Why do you think there's so many different types of people in different colors? Do you really know what's going on? Do you really know why there's so many different things of different things? Because it's so easy to get you to fight with each other. They've already won. But they haven't won with me. But they've already won. They're getting it done. They won before they even started. How many people were taking prescription drugs? How many people were drinking alcohol every night? How many people were being sexually abused or physically abused or mentally abused? None of that shit's going to happen on my watch. I've asked people to leave the resort. You need to understand something. I love the world the way it is because it may not change. And if I don't, I'm going to hate it. The world's not going to change, but you can change. Nobody's coming for you. Not if you smile. Not if you have your shoulders back. Not if you take lion heart breathing. Not if you stand up for yourself and you let your family know that you love them, but you're going to change. And you're not going to take any abuse. Listen, we get abused more in our home than we do outside. We get abused even more than that inside here because we've never ever taken our lives back. You're not yourself. If you were yourself, you wouldn't have a disease. You'd be at ease. If you were yourself, you'd always have energy. You'd be feeding your spirit, which means you'd heal your body. And a disease means you're out of alignment. An autoimmune disease means you've been attacking yourself so long here that emotional became a physical. Remember something, guys. And you need to know this. This whole thing is an illusion. And your imagination is the greatest gift that you've ever been given. It's called image. You always have an image before you have a thought. And then that thought turns into what? An emotion. And how many of your emotions are based on unconditional love? Good luck. Good luck with that one. Most of your emotions are based on fear, false evidence appearing real. Most of you have what? Fear throughout the day, just drip, drip, drip. So that's why you're exhausted. That's why you can't think anymore. That's why you're frustrated. That's why you fight with your family. That's why you're short-fused. So you're either having a beautiful image, which creates what? A beautiful thought, which creates a beautiful emotion, which then creates a frequency that causes a dumping of dose, which is dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins, or you're doing hack, histamine, adrenaline, cortisol, and you're dripping it into yourself, and you're wearing yourself out. If you think I'm full of shit, follow me around. You couldn't keep up with my mind, you couldn't keep up with my body, you couldn't keep up with all the things that I'm doing and all the projects I'm doing. And the only way I can do that is to totally be unconditionally in love with me. And know that that which created the universe has never judged me. That shit's been made up. So as soon as you stop judging yourself and you stop judging others and you just observe and go, well, I don't really like that, but I do like that, so I'm not ever going to go back there. So I'm not into the V, I'm not into the C. I'm into me and setting myself free so that I can create, because my imagination is everything, and whatever I focus on, it's going to happen that way. Both of my parents died before 55. My father was a born-again Christian pastor. My mother was a Roman Catholic. And they were staunch. How did that work out for them? They fought. They were divided. Religion is to divide us. Feed your spirit. Let yourself off the hook for everything you've ever did. And watch your energy soar. Stop looking for someone to fix. Stop looking for someone to fill up your little broken heart. Oh my God. You know what? There's the biggest problem. If people didn't have to fill up your heart, and what happens when you borrow something? You got to give it back. Nobody can fill your heart. That's your job. Fill up your own heart. So anybody have children? Would you like to have children? Would you like your children to love themselves 5% or 10%? Because that's the maximum almost in this room. Because you're getting all the rest of your love from everybody else. I fill up my own heart, so if my partner or my children aren't having a good day, they don't have to say anything to me. They can tell me to go F myself, and I'll say, I love you anyway. Because everybody needs a personality change. You change your personality, you change your reality. Nobody's going to buy into this one. No, let's go for the good fight. I'm not fighting with anybody anymore. But I will hold the Braveheart line. And everything is about vibration, and don't you forget that. You came as a spirit, you're going to leave as a spirit, and you've got to feed your spirit. And remember something, the more higher the vibrational food, the friends, the talk, the thinking, it's your life. It'll be the best life ever. The tyrants have been around since the beginning of time. They nailed Jesus to the cross. All he wanted to do was show unconditional love. He wasn't a Christian, he was a yogi, but nobody wants to talk about that. He taught meditation. He did it for 40 days because he wanted to bring up his spirit so that he can talk to the source of everything. But then we had to go and rewrite the story, didn't we? Oh no, nobody touched that story. There hasn't been a story that you know that's been contaminated. And the longer the story's been told, the more bullshit it is. Everything's a lie, except for one thing. You're beautiful. And you don't need forgiveness. As far as I'm concerned, to come down here, to play the Earth game, it's a life-challenging, fun-filled, threatening game for the whole family if you know the rules. It's called unconditional love. But because you have beliefs that aren't yours, you can't function properly. That's why you run out of energy. That's why you run into cars and people and run them over. God knows I know that. I'm never changing and I'm never going back. I'm never going to be the normal average person. I'm not going to be the majority. The majority is going to the butchers. Tell me they're not. The average person is 40 pounds overweight. That's 40 pounds of inflammation and infection. Today, you can be totally out of shape. Most people that come to my courses, they're totally out of shape. But they're in shape. That's what the doctor said. For your age, you're doing pretty good. Most of you are dead already. Right? And today, if you have a disease, but you're not in the hospital, you're healthy. That's normal. So there's nothing normal about this. There's nothing normal about life. As far as I'm concerned, they're the cleanup crew. If we were unconditionally loving ourselves and holding the Braveheart line, they couldn't have came for us. You wouldn't be buying their garbage, would you? You wouldn't be watching their garbage, would you? And you wouldn't be coming their garbage, so they're the garbage men. They're coming to do the cleaning. And they are. At the end of the day, what are they coming for? They're the predators. They're coming for what? What are they coming for? Okay, this is the jungle. Go ahead and limp in the jungle and see how that goes. Be fearful. Find out how that goes. You don't believe me? Watch my videos. So I'm either crazy or I know the only way to get off this planet is to become a high vibrational human being and to have unconditional love for everyone. Judge not. Observe, yes. And guess what? You don't have to like me. I'm going to love you anyway. Because guess what? I want to go to bed tonight and have a beautiful sleep. I want to get up in the morning and have more energy than anybody else around me, because I want to show people that we are unlimited. We have more potential than anyone else. And you know what? I disturb people because I get them out of their comfort zone. And they don't like it. And they don't like to be told that they've been the ones that were terrorizing themselves. We need to blame something on somebody. Now you've got your excuse. Or you can wake up. I have had the best 2 years of my life. I have had the best 2 years of my life, and I will have the best years of my life coming for me. On a personal note, understand, I know people are dying and crying and justifying. I'm not happy about that. What do you want me to do? You want me to suffer? Or do you want me to look at the bonuses of this, to wake up, and then if we could wake up enough people, it would never happen again? But you'd have to close the grocery stores. You'd have to close the hospitals. You'd have to have no government. So it's going to happen again. But what can you do today? You can have the best night tonight. You can go out to the back. You can sing at the bonfire. You can have fresh juices that we made you. You can have a shot of Mescal, maybe 2 or 3. Get your dance in your pants. Sing along and be grateful for everything that you exist, and knowing that you will exist forever. And that you said you could come down here to this life-threatening, fun-filled adventure and win. But only 1 out of 10,000 people will finish this game. The rest of you will bitch and complain and grumble. And then talk about how you can't make enough money, you don't have enough love in your life. And guess what? When you unconditionally love yourself, you will have great relationship with yourself and everyone else. That doesn't mean everybody's going to like you, because you're going to disturb people who don't want to change. Oh yeah, people who don't want to change, they stay away from me. Oh yeah, they just stay away, like far away. And then they give me the smile. You may not believe this, but I believe in God Almighty, and I don't believe in the God you believe in. Because the God that created the whole universe has never judged us. He said, you want to go play the earth game? Go get it on. Just know that you live eternal. There's no judgment coming for you. You do it all yourself. Heaven and hell are created in the mind. You create enough hell for yourself, and you don't even know it. But you did it with belief systems that aren't yours. From the very minute you get here in your mother's womb, she's freaked out having a baby. And your father was freaked out having one. They came out of school, they didn't know how to eat right, think right, love right. They didn't know how to love themselves, they didn't know how to love each other. They had empty hearts. Without unconditional love, you can't have a good relationship. You'll have a normal one. Thank you, not interested. Did that already. I don't want normal relationships. Hand out your papers. Make sure you protest. Join your convoys. But understand something, until you fill up your own heart and you know that that which created the whole universe is beyond love. It's not this contaminated crap. I don't want anybody telling me that they want to give me their love. You just keep your love. I fill up my own heart, and I'll shine it on everyone. And I don't care if you like me, you don't like me. I don't care if you smoke. I don't care if you drink. I'm going to love you anyway. But just know this. It was a setup. It was a setup. They didn't make it easy, did they? The majority of the population lives in the present moment, 2 to 5%. What can you get done in 2 to 5% of your day? Wow, that's that little bliss, that little moment, that little God spot. Woo, where'd that go? Well, guess what? It comes with training. I might only have 10% of a brain like the rest of you, because that's all we have is 10% of our brain that is conscious. The rest is 90%. That was actually manipulated so that they could dump a ton of dysfunctional beliefs in you, and then guess what? They could feed off of you. These tyrants, They live off your pain and suffering. Do you know what the worst thing is for them? When you smile, put your shoulders back, and you have a beautiful day. When you're not disturbed by them or by any of your other terrorist friends, family. No, I'm not angry. I'm not sad. I'm not mad. I'm going to have a good time. I'm going to create stuff that'll blow people's minds. And why will I do it? Because I know I can. And before I leave, I'm going to teach millions of people that I'm just an average guy, but I have genius like the rest of you. You all have genius. And you all need to find your passion and purpose. And once you find your passion and purpose, then you will never be bothered again. Do you know what the worst thing is? You know why people get near the end of their life and they just don't want to die yet? They don't want to go? Oh my God, I feel like I haven't accomplished anything, because you didn't finish the game. Until you have unconditional love and you can teach it to 1 million people, you didn't finish the game. This is a Nintendo game. This is an illusion. You might as well have a good time, and don't buy into the bullshit of the majority. The majority is never going to wake up. Now you're going, oh, well, who does he think he is? Well, I don't know. Since the beginning of time, the majority have never been awake. And since the beginning of time, they've reaped and harvested the majority. And since the beginning of time, the majority buys Fruit Loops. One law, one love, unconditional love. You do that, and you've just activated. You learn to hold it and don't give it up for your husband, your wife, your children, or anyone else. You hold the line. If you hold the line, you're going to give them the best gift, and it'll take 9 months to a year, and the whole family will unconsciously try to gang up on you and try to knock the legs out of you, because unconditional love makes everybody uncomfortable. Thank you for letting me make you uncomfortable. Have a beautiful night.
Yes, let's give a thank you and a round of applause to Dr. Wolf, please. So I don't have a cell phone, but I'm going to take a selfie with my camera if you guys will help me out.
Selfie time.
Thank you guys for being here so late tonight.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you for being here.
Ready?
All right. Get in there.
All right. So, how long you got? 45 minutes? An hour? How much? I want to make sure I'm only going to share as much information that the people in this room have the time and the desire for. And you let me know what that is, and I'll meet that, and I'll respect that. 45 minutes? You guys good with that? I know you want to get to the bonfire and the juices and everything else that we're so lucky to have tonight. And if it's okay with our camera crew and everybody else, I'm more of a stand and pace kind of guy than sit down, so I'll do that. But yeah, let's take a nice deep breath together. You've heard a lot of information. Let's take a nice deep breath. Breathe it out. Again, I want to give thanks to Miriam for her presentation and for sharing the meditation. Thank you. And again, to the whole crew here, production crew, thank you guys, and Dr. Wolf and everybody else who's been welcoming us today and yesterday. So, as I was mentioning earlier at the beginning, we are 1 week into a 6-week, 17-event, 15-city tour across Mexico. And it's already been amazing, just the first few stops. It's already been a nice mixture of some cities, mostly Mexicans, and some cities pretty heavily expat. And we're interested to see how that balance plays out as we travel around the country. Ultimately, the goal is to try to bring these groups together. And in some places, that's already happening. And other places, sometimes the expats tend to get into little bubbles. And that doesn't mean there isn't good community and good things happening there. But ultimately, if anybody who spent significant time in Mexico or is Mexican or been around Mexican folks, you understand that community, your network, your family, those are absolutely vital resources in Mexico. Knowing the people around you, to some degree being integrated, whether that's learning Spanish like Miriam said, or just getting more connected, making an effort to know the people around you and to see how we can support each other. Because the beautiful thing is, guys, as I'm going to share tonight, there is this really just special moment happening right now. In the last year, there are at least 2 different groups, activist groups, that have been created in Mexico. United for Truth and Mexicans for Truth. These groups are now starting to have chapters around the country. In fact, in Cancun, the Unidos group is working with us. They're Mexican, Mexican folks that are helping us organize our event out there, which is going to be really cool. So just in the last year and a half, this movement is starting to grow. Not only people who are questioning the COVID narrative and things of that sort, but again, people who are looking for solutions. I asked this earlier, but I'm going to ask again. Are you here looking for solutions tonight? Different type solutions, right? Good. We're in the right place then. I'm speaking to the right crowd, and you are in the right place. So in this exciting moment where so many of us, through one way or another, have found ourselves here in Mexico, and maybe some of you have put roots down already here in Ixtapa or Ziwa, or you're looking for somewhere still. But the point is, well, let's ask this. How many Canadians do we have in this room right now? Yeah, that's interesting. It's probably about the same every room we go to, because I'll say for sure, Miriam and I have seen thousands and thousands of Canadians coming into Mexico since September and before October, and we've been helping families come down to Mexico, and we just recently helped a Canadian family with their 2 daughters who had sold everything they own and packed it up, and were able to drive through the U.S., and we helped them drive down. So it's a real thing. People are coming into this country, and increasingly the Mexicans that we're talking to are like, what the heck is going on? This is more than just the usual tourist season. Who are all these people, right? And so again, part of the message and the goal is to say, for those Mexican residents, Mexican citizens who are waking up to these issues, in case you didn't realize, you get realizing that people are on their way here, that there are reasons that many of us value Mexico. Obviously the weather, maybe you come here because it's more financially advantageous for you, which is the case for most of us coming from elsewhere. How many people, though, came to Mexico with at least part of your decision being based on the understanding that Mexico is behind in terms of this agenda and this technology? Did that factor into your decision in some way? Yes, many of us, right? For sure, us as well. Miriam and I had decided we were going to move to Mexico before COVID. Basically, our plan stayed the same. We just decided to speed things up, to come here, to get some land, to start an intentional community. I'm going to talk to you guys about that project tonight. We had already been planning to do that. We've been visiting Mexico for the last 6 years. Her family is from San Miguel and Veracruz, and we've been just getting to know, reconnect to some roots. And we had already decided we wanted to come here. March 2020, we came back from our annual trip in February of Mexico and Costa Rica, and we made it back home. The stores were already running out of toilet paper, and we were like, something is going on, right? And we started hearing things in the news, and we were talking, and it's like, okay, if this gets serious, we're going straight back to Mexico. We're going to jump in the car, we're going to go visit your grandparents, and we'll figure it out, because I feel safer on that side of the border than I do in the U.S. Being aware of the things that I'm aware of, like many of you, and the work that I've been doing, the journalism and the activism for now 12 years, I always, in my mind, felt like there's no way I'm going to let myself get trapped in a situation with all the things I know. And this is what I was saying earlier about it's not enough to be awake, because you can know the agendas, read the books, watch the documentaries, listen to the podcast, but if you don't do anything about it, it's going to happen to you too. And one day you're going to wake up and you won't be able to leave your front door without somebody knowing everywhere you're going, and a social credit score attached to you, and a digital ID, and a digital currency, and all those fun things we know are on the horizon, right? So there's this beautiful opportunity right now for those of us who are coming here to escape or maybe get away, or even just looking like there might be better potentials here, to connect and to build with this emerging Mexican freedom truth movement. Because I'm not sure if everyone here in this room recognizes, which mostly everybody here is predominantly English speakers, first language, that many of the documentaries that woke you up or added to your repertoire of information, or the books or the podcasts, most of them are in English. Whether you come from Australia, Canada, Western Europe, the US, the English-speaking world pretty much dominates the truth movement. That doesn't mean there aren't other languages where these things are happening, but generally speaking, it is largely in English. So recently I launched an effort called Translate the Truth, and this is also part of what Miriam and I are doing. We've got all my shirts translated into Spanish, my books are being translated into Spanish, my documentaries in Spanish, and I'm working with people like James Corbett and Mark Passio and Ryan Christian of Last American Vagabond and Whitney Webb and many other talented people to get their articles, their documentaries, books, etc. translated into Spanish. We're going to get into, I have already people volunteering for German, Portuguese, Dutch, French, so many languages. We are going to wake up millions and more people in the coming years because these things are going to be put in their language for the very first time. Just think about that. Really reflect on the potential that comes with that. I'm so excited about that. And especially, we're starting with Spanish because we're here in Mexico. And because the Mexican activists that I do know typically are Mexican activists who can speak English and Spanish. So they can watch English-speaking content, right? But what about their friends who don't have any English-speaking experience? They're missing out on a lot of content. Like I said, there's not this whole ecosystem like we have in the English-speaking world where you got the health freedom movement and the crypto people and the spiritual people and the anarchists and this, broad, messy thing we call the freedom truth movement, whatever you want to label it. And we got our own infights and all this stuff. That doesn't exist in the Spanish-speaking world, at least in Mexico, at least to that degree. There are activists. I'm definitely not trying to downplay the work of anybody who is already speaking truth. But the point is, there's an opportunity right now with each of us. Like, for example, the simple thing we did earlier of going out and passing flyers in Spanish language. That might have been the first time somebody has heard this information about the mask. The flyers we were passing out were specifically about masks on kids and the dangers posed by that and why it's not necessary. We could have more than likely handed a flyer today to a parent who's never come across that information because it hasn't been put in their language yet, right? That's magic, that's potential, right? Because I can speak from my own experience that years ago when I started off, something as simple as a DVD in my hand and a sticker handed to me set me on this path. There was a lot of activists years ago, we used to burn. Anybody remember DVDs? We used to burn, get to towers, DVDs, and burn hundreds and hundreds of documentaries, 9/11 truth stuff, The World According to Monsanto, whatever the topic was we were focusing. We would get groups of people and just hit the streets and pass out thousands of DVDs to people. And those little things, eventually somebody's going to watch that. And you never know what comes from that experience, right? So my point here is we got a lot of opportunity, a lot of potential, and that's why we're doing this tour. We want to connect to the expats who are here, whether recently or those who've been here long term. We're definitely meeting many folks who've been in Mexico 20, 30 years, not native Mexicans, but who've been here for a long time and have good connections to the local community. We're trying to really strengthen and kind of tighten the reins between all of our different disparate networks across this country. And tonight I'm going to talk to you about the Freedom Cell Network and how we're growing around the world, and part of it is what's happening in Mexico. And what are the potentials, what are the opportunities that we have before us to make sure that whatever's specifically on the horizon, we'll get into some of that, whatever's on the horizon, that we will continue to thrive and survive into the future, right? Does that sound good? Surviving and thriving, not just scraping by, because yeah, that's something to celebrate. Well, we'll talk about the you'll own nothing and be happy thing in a second. We'll get there. Let me take a step back and tell you a little bit about how I got into this work. So maybe you can better understand why we incorporate meditation and why my website, my book series is called The Conscious Resistance. I also sometimes refer to this as holistic anarchism or holistic activism. We'll talk about those terms tonight. But ultimately, it's what we've been hearing from Miriam and from Dr. Wolf. My work is built around the idea that the struggle for a more free, ethical, and just world is not only going to come from confronting the institutions of power in the physical realm. So what do I mean by that? I mean that even though it's a good and important act for us to go out there and pass out flyers and to talk to people, or to go hold a convoy, or to protest, or to post online, all of those things play a role, but that's only one part of the equation, right? The conscious resistance is about recognizing that, yes, there is a physical world, there is a physical reality, we do have physical bodies, and we also are of spirit. There also is this, what I call the internal struggle against your own internal tyrant, your doubts, fears, insecurities, and limiting beliefs that can hold you back and prevent you from being the best version of yourself, which we just so happen to need right about now. We need that best version of yourself to step up and shine, show yourself to the world, right? So the conscious resistance is simply recognizing that it's not about, let's go protest or only worry about the physical realm. Yes, do that when you can, and we also need to find ways to take care of ourselves in the physical realm better, but we cannot ignore our spirit as well. We can't ignore that other side. And so that's something that I've been focusing on since 2012, 2013, and that is, that's a big part of the message and what we're here tonight. But what I want to help you understand is why that became so intrinsic to my work. And this is because when I was 20 years old in 2005, I got addicted to crystal meth and I went to prison. And in prison, I discovered meditation. That's when I really started to do my healing work. Originally from Houston, Texas, and I've been, as I said, doing journalism and activism for the last 12 years. Most of you have come to know me. It's through that path, through some interview I did, or an article I wrote, or a documentary, or whatever it may be. And that's part of my awakening, right? But I really feel like my true awakening, if you will, started earlier, when I was going through this really deep, dark place, when I ultimately found myself. This was 2005. I was 20 years old, 1 week from turning 21. I get arrested for a small amount of crystal meth that I had been selling for the latter part of about 10, 11 months after being addicted to it for about 8 or 9 months. I got myself sober, but I was still kind of hanging out in that realm, and I got locked up. And I don't know if you've ever truly experienced a situation where you feel powerless. I mean, you can get on the phone and call husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, lawyer, whatever, and cry all you want and scream all you want, but you still got to live it. Nobody can come save you from it, right? You just got to sit and live with it. And that's what I had to face while locked up, is sitting behind bars, looking at the calendar after getting this sentence and realizing I'm not going home for at least 11 months. At the earliest, I'll be home, next year, while all my friends are off living their lives. And yeah, in that space of really just having to accept that is actually where I found a lot of power and strength, in that space of just you kind of have to, I don't want to say like submit to it, but you do have to have a level of acceptance, right? And I actually witnessed this, when you first get locked up and you go behind bars, and it's an adjustment period, of course, right? You're not just doing a couple of days because you were out partying and you got a ticket and you're going to go home. No, you're stuck there now and you can't leave, right? And they wake you up whenever they want, they feed you whenever they want. You have no say over your life anymore at this point, right? It's a very weird and odd situation to adjust to. And the thing about it is, the longer and the harder you focus on what your friends and family and girlfriend and wife and husband are up to out here, the slower things go in there. So eventually, you have to let go. There's a part of you that has to let go. You have to stop worrying about what other people are doing and focus on what's happening right in front of you. And in this space, sometimes people choose to become better criminals. Sometimes people just get angry, they blame the world. It's their fault I'm in here, or whatever the case may be. I chose to really start trying to figure out, what the heck was I doing? How did I get in this position? How did I get locked up after spending my entire life angry at my birth father for his drug addiction, for constantly being in and out of prison during my young life, right? And it was really the beginning of this reflection period. I started journaling every day, really trying to process, why did I think the answer was to stick as many drugs up my nose as possible? For one point, I thought that was the key to enlightenment. Newsflash, it's not. It's not, okay? It's not. I'm talking to the young one here. It's not. But I went through, sometimes you think oh yeah, it's the answer to my pain, because at the end of the day, it's all self-medication. I didn't realize that at the time, but this is the process that began. I started to ask myself, how did I get to this position? And I look back and I could see, okay, well, after high school, it was drinking all the time. Then it was taking pills. Then it was doing this thing. Then it was this thing. January 2005, I tried crystal. By November, I'm in prison. Just that quick. Locked up on the streets, all kinds of crazy stuff. I started going back and just cycling through, how did I get to this position? Writing down every day. And it was really interesting because as I was forced to, again, let go of the outside, and it's interesting because in prison, we refer to this place as the free world. I'm not sure if we should rethink that, but that's what it's known as in there. More free world, right? So you have to let go of the world out here. You have to be where you're at and, be here now. And that's basically what I did. And even over time, my handwriting started to slow down and started to get more precise. I think as I started to slow down, because I was out of the busyness that happens out here. I mean, that's one thing is I did have the space and the time, and I chose to use it that way to begin my healing process. And the really interesting thing is about a week before I got arrested, I was definitely going through this, deep stuff was trying to come out, and I didn't want it, and I was coming off drugs, and it was just a really chaotic time emotionally for me. And I remember after I left the crack meth house because I was sick of it, and I got sober and I quit I went back to my parents' house and said, please just let me come home, whatever it takes. I need to get away from this, please. Like, let me just, get through this. And so my mom let me come back, and about a week before I got arrested, she found me in the closet, the room I was staying in, and I was just on my knees just crying. And she's like, son, what's going on? How can I help you? Please just tell me. And I just remember saying, like, it just feels like everything's going too fast. Like, I just need a pause. I can't catch up. And about a week later, I got arrested, and I had an 11-month pause. So be careful what you wish for. But ultimately, I do believe that needed to take place for whatever reason. That's how I chose to manifest into this world and the path that has been laid before me. But I know that the things that happened in those moments directly shaped my ability to be here with you guys today. That was the real awakening. Getting arrested, starting to meditate every day, specifically doing like Zazen, Zen meditation, and prayer, and just getting deeper into my spirituality for really the first time in my life. And again, as I started to go back further, even before high school, I could see that as early as 5 years old that I was this depressed little kid because my father was coming in and out of my life saying he would be there for this birthday, this Christmas, and he was dealing with his trauma and his drug addiction, and it was back and forth and back and forth. So as young as 7 years old, I started to do self-harm and started to hurt myself and was a very just depressed little kid. Fast forward to 14 years old, my father comes out again. Before I could even see him this Christmas, he's already back in prison. I remember clearly that day, I'm at my grandma's house, it's Christmas Eve, I run into the bathroom, I'm crying my eyes out, and I look in the mirror, and I say, F this, I'm never letting anybody hurt me again. And I put this hard shell around my heart. And from 14 until pretty much when I got arrested, 21, my life tends to happen in chapters of 7. From 14 until that time, I just put this shell around me, and it's like the dark side. You think the anger makes you strong, but really you're just masking, pain. Don't look over here. I was always projecting outwards and talking shit about everything out here and pointing at other people and not like anything but to look inwards and to, feel what I'm feeling. So by the time I graduated high school and I started to drink, it just, it felt like, oh, this is what I've been missing. This was the thing I was searching for. And like I said, very quickly found out that wasn't true. But it took all of this time sitting in prison, sitting in my bunk, in this place that is filled with fear and anger, mainly fear, to just use that space for what it was. And I'm not crediting the prison system in the United States to any degree for my path here. That is a horrible institution that has locked up all kinds of people for victimless minor crimes. And I met many, many brilliant minds, young and old, in prison. Some of them are still cycling in and out of that system. Some of them are dead, and some of them figured it out before I did. Because, see, I did 11 months, then I went back, got out for about 6 months, went back. I ended up doing 18 months in total between 2005 and 2008. So that was the real beginning of my awakening. That was me starting to do this deeper healing to see that there's this intergenerational trauma in the Bros family on my father's side and in the Sanchez family on my mother's side. Drugs and alcohol, both sides, going back at least 3 generations. When I started to dig deeper, all that anger that I had for my father turned into empathy for realizing like, wow, he's been dealing with this. I found out that he started using drugs at 10 years old, selling them for my grandpa and grandma who were going through their own thing. They eventually got themselves sober, got their lives together, but my father spent the rest of his life until he died of a drug overdose 4 years ago dealing with this. And my great-grandfather hung himself in prison. There's this intergenerational trauma that has been passed down. And when I became aware of that, the power, guys, to recognize it doesn't have to go on. Like, I can be the one in my family to help bring this to an end. And it's been a beautiful journey since recognizing that. I remember when I was younger, myself and my older brother, we had conversations even as young kids that we thought our family and the name, the Bros name and this energy was a disease. And we promised each other we would never have kids because we wanted it to end, because that's just how much pain we were going through, right? Thankfully, now my brother is the father of 3 beautiful kids, and one of them is the youngest little Bros man, and so the name lives on. And so much of what I do is motivated by those kids, my 6 nieces and nephews. But I share that story with you just so you understand that that is the place that I discovered meditation and prayer and healing, in prison, in that dark space. And pulling myself out of that has been a beautiful journey. And meditation has played a very large role in my life. And increasingly in Miriam's life. And so that's why we incorporate that aspect in there, because again, the conscious resistance. Yes, I'm going to talk to you tonight about practical solutions. We need to get out of the banking system ASAP. We need to get out of the education system. We need to think about the physical institutions and how they are going to use those to squeeze you and to coerce you and to use social engineering to try to get you to submit to whatever they want. The first time it was a vaccine. Who knows what it could be next, right? The point is they've showed their hand. That is a part of our reality. That is a physical reality that meditation and prayer alone will not solve. It's a part of the equation, but it's not the only part. So again, we bring it back to the conscious resistance, this holistic activism idea. Physical and spiritual together, right? That's what my work's focused on. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. You guys with that? Yeah. All right. Let me take a sip of, do I have water up here? I think I do. Okay, we'll get water. All right, so that is what I feel was my real awakening, because that was 2005. I got out 2008. About a year later, this is where I was getting. This was the long-winded story about the sticker. Okay, now we've come full circle. 2008, I get out. Now I'm a felon in the state of Texas. I have this whole new experience. I don't know if anybody is familiar with the felony system in the United States or has family or friends. Maybe you do, because the prison system's so massive. But when you have that label, what we, again, in prison refer to as having a bullseye on your back, it's that scarlet letter, right? People hear you're a felon, they might make all sorts of assumptions that you're a dangerous, violent person, or whatever other assumptions they might make. You can't get a job here. Oh, you can't rent here. You know, things are a little bit more stacked against you, even if you've paid your debt to society, as I did. There's still a lot of things to kind of overcome in that situation. But when I got out, guys, I was probably happy for the first time in my entire life. I remember I was 24 years old, I'm getting out. The first time I ever stopped just to enjoy a sunset. The first time I said I love myself. Like, all of that started with this journey inside in prison. So when I was getting out, I didn't care that I was having to take 2 buses, 2 hours to the other side of town for a 4-hour shift, and then 2 more buses for 2 hours back, because that was the only job I could get. I didn't care. When I left, I stopped in the field and just laid down, took a nap, and enjoyed the sunset. Like, I was experiencing life for the first time. I feel like I'm 37 now. I feel like I'm probably really 12 years old, because the first 20-something years of my life were buried under this depression, this cloud of like heaviness, where I wasn't who you know today. I was looking for this person, right? So it's been a beautiful journey since then. But that all happened before I ever started questioning the Federal Reserve System, the government, started reading about conspiracies, and got into journalism and making documentaries and writing books and all this stuff. That came later. And it started with when I moved to Houston. I was at a music festival in the street, and there's a guy walking around handing out DVDs and handing out stickers. I took some of them with me. I didn't really think anything of it. I put the sticker on my keyboard in my music room. And then a couple months later, I decided to check it out. The sticker said, 9/11 is an inside job. Anybody familiar with that phrase? I was like, what? Whoa, that sounds cool. Maybe I should look into that. And then I read a book, watched a documentary, because, you know, as a felon, I'm at the library all the time now applying for jobs. And I decided maybe I should start reading. I discovered and remembered that I like to learn, that I'm an intelligent person. And so that was kind of where the rabbit hole began with me. And fast forward, documentary, book, etc. It was never the same again. Started activism, started journalism in 2012, and started the conscious resistance in 2013. But all of these experiences were directly shaped by going to prison first, by doing my healing work, and this journey, of course, continues. So it's absolutely important. The reason I'm emphasizing this first is because a lot of the rest of this conversation is going to focus on the physical realm of this part of the conversation, right? So although I will be emphasizing the discussions on what we're facing in the physical, I don't want us to ignore the importance of the internal. Does that make sense? Yes? No? Are they there? Did they? All right, guys. Okay, so let's get into it then. We've already talked about there's this flood of people coming through. Let's kind of see where we're at. Let's gauge the information. Who's familiar with the term the Great Reset? So we don't need to go there. Who's familiar with, and don't be shy if you need some backup, I'm happy to do it. Who's familiar and really feels like they have an understanding of what technocracy means? Less people, right? Maybe we'll go there in a moment. So what about terms like Agenda 2030? Okay, more people, right? So it's 2022, guys. They are calling this, they being the United Nations and the World Economic Forum, the decade of transformation. They have invested trillions of dollars, trillions, get that, trillions of dollars, generational planning, some of the largest multinational corporations in the world, banks, governments, partnered together to implement their decade of transformation. And this is where we get to the you will own nothing and be happy part of the conversation, right? Again, it's important to acknowledge the physical realities. This is not because we're wishing to manifest these things or because we want to focus on them or allow ourselves to be paralyzed by fear. Not at all. But what I've found in my experience is there's less reason to live in fear if you're choosing to act, right? So the knowledge I'm going to share today is all about awareness. Please strive not to take it in and allow it to fill you with fear and allow that fear to cause you not to act, right? If anything, allow the information to motivate you to get your shit together. Because these are some realities that we're facing. And again, I do believe in the power of meditation and prayer, but those things alone will not stop what's happening. I believe, as Dr. Wolf was saying, that it is up to each of us. There isn't a president that's going to run in 2024 or in Mexico or the US or Canada that's going to come save the day. And as important as it is to people to get on the streets and express themselves, whether that's through protests or marches or rallies or convoys or sit-ins or what have you, which those things do have a place, that also will not stop what's happening alone. And in fact, I'm here to say that I don't know that we can stop what is taking place right now. Trillions of dollars, generational planning. While they've got us all distracted on how many likes did I get on Facebook today, these folks are thinking, what projects am I going to start that my grandchildren are going to finish? That's the long term they're thinking. So, but that isn't, again, a message of despair. Just because we might not be able to, and again, I don't know, we should still strive, but even if we can't stop what's happening, what they have planned, the vision that I hold and that I believe in, and I think that most of you are increasingly becoming attracted to, is that we have to build parallel systems. We have to build a parallel society to this. Namely, I'll say I come from a place as somebody who believes in self-ownership. I believe that every single one of you are free, powerful, beautiful people capable of organizing your own lives, your own affairs, and even if I disagree with your personal decisions, it's wrong, immoral, unethical for me to use force or violence or coercion against you. Does that resonate with most of you? I think most of us yeah, that makes sense. And then that makes sense to some of us, but then we'll go out and vote for a government to force other people to do things we want. And that's why I say that I'm an anarchist, because I think it's wrong even if a government's doing it. If it's wrong if you do it on the individual level, it's wrong if you vote for somebody to come do it to me, right? Does that make sense? Whether you want to call yourself an anarchist or not, that's just the reality. When you think about it logically, it doesn't make sense. If you don't have the right to use violence against me, how do you have the right to vote for a government to use violence against me, right? You can't vote in a right that you yourself don't have. But they want us to believe that. So that's another conversation for another day. But the point here is that I recognize that each of you have the ability to make your own choices and to decide what's best for you. We don't necessarily have to eat the same food, love the same way, listen to the same music, hang out in the same places, but if we can come down to that basic understanding that it is wrong to initiate force and violence and coercion against another human being, well, maybe we can have a healthy discussion about the areas that we don't agree. Or we can just agree to disagree, right? We don't have to necessarily agree on everything. And despite what the political climate, I would say in Canada, the US, and Western Europe, and even to some extent Mexico, despite what the political climate has tried to show us the last couple years, we have a lot more in common than we have apart. You guys recognize that? Look, I'm not here to assume that everybody in this room is a conservative or a progressive or comes from this background or health freedom or what have you. If we really started to get into the minutia, yeah, we can find ways to divide ourselves. We can find ways to stand on the opposite sides of the room. But if we focus on the common ground we have, that we all recognize that a free humanity is under threat, right? Let's make no mistake, nothing less than that is what we're dealing with and what we're facing. And I know, as I said, that I have 6 nieces and nephews that I'm personally continuing to push for a better world for. And if Miriam and I do choose to have children, I'll be fighting for those kids as well. I also know that my ancestors fought hard for me to be alive here. Every single one of us did, no matter what part of the planet you're from, no matter what color skin you are. Every single one of our ancestors had to put in time, energy, blood, sweat, and tears, and planning to make sure we were going to get through the next season, to make sure that their kids could survive, right? And I refuse to let the work of my ancestors and for that work to be for nothing and to sell out the future generations that are coming, right? And if that's how we feel, If we recognize that, because is anybody else with me on that? Are you willing to do anything to protect your kids and your grandkids and yourself, right? And of course, we are a peaceful movement because we move in the light. And that's the thing, is when you're doing the good stuff happens. We're all kind of becoming magnetized and attracted to each other. There is an awakening going around the world. There is, and it has been happening for years. But COVID-19 '84 was the best gift they could have given to us. It was the best gift. Because finally, so many of you who maybe knew what was happening before, but thought like, yeah, that's in the future, maybe one day that'll happen, or that's kind of a fun conspiracy theory, but I don't really have to worry about that. And then COVID happened. Now all of a sudden you're picking up everything you own and moving to Mexico. Who would have thought? Did anybody think 2.5 years ago this is what you'd be doing, right? And again, I give all of you this, I applaud you, the courage, the strength to make those tough decisions, right? To pick up your whole life, wherever you may be coming from. So that gift of these people, which I often term the predator class, that gift of them choosing to act, all it has done is accelerated the awakening overall. And maybe that's going to be par for the course for the rest of our term here on this planet. They push, more wake up. They push, more wake up, right? I do believe, and have believed for years, it's going to have to get worse before it gets better. And I wish it wasn't that way, but we seem to be a stubborn species. So it looks like things are going to have to get a little more dicey in the future, which is why we're here to talk about mental, physical, and spiritual strength, right? To be able to take on whatever may be coming our way. So since we're all familiar with technocracy, we're all familiar with the Great Reset and Agenda 2030. If you're not, I encourage you to check out my book. It's called How to Opt Out of the Technocratic State. We have it in Spanish and English. You can download it for free at theconsciousresistance.com, theconsciousresistance.com/how-to. If you want to download the PDF, we also have copies here. That book goes all into the history of technocracy, what we're facing. I published it in January 2020, a month before COVID. And it became very relevant to what we're facing now. Not because I had a crystal ball, but because as a journalist, I've been studying digital surveillance technology since at least 2012, when I was made aware that the Houston Police Department, when I was doing journalism in Houston, had been spying on me using cell phone surveillance tools called Stingrays. And that began my journey into learning all about this stuff. And as I've been doing my research over the years, you can go back to 2017, 2018, 2019, and there are people much more experienced experts than myself in the field of digital rights and digital privacy who have been warning for years that we are stepping into an unknown territory when it comes to AI and facial recognition. That in the United States and in most places in the world, there are literally no protections on what they can do with this is your face print, is what they call this. So in that space, there are now these companies, you might have heard of Clearview AI, there's a few others that are just private companies that haven't done anything illegal. You know, it's not considered illegal, and I don't know that it should be, but it's definitely something to be aware of. These companies are going out and scooping up all of the public social media data that they can find, all of our selfies and all of our pictures, and they're feeding into their algorithm and their AI system, and they sell access to the system to local police departments and to governments and corporations. So this could be things like trying to better track people. It could just be trying to sell you better ads. But the point is, you have no idea. How many databases are our faces already in right now at the moment? How long can they store that data? And what ways are they going to use that against us? And what ways could they use that against us in the future? That's the big thing, right? When they start going backwards and finding out you said all these offensive things and these crazy things back in the day, it's time for us to bring your social credit score down. Are people familiar with that, social credit score? Is that one need explaining? I'm going to explain a little bit just to make sure we're all on the same page, because this plays big into what we're facing, and it plays big into the solutions. Hopefully, if you're not familiar with social credit scores, what we're seeing recently in Canada with the freezing of bank accounts is kind of a preview of how these things operate, right? So a social credit score is much like a financial credit score. But the financial credit score is obviously based on your finances. So if you repay your debts on time, you take out your loans, et cetera, then you're going to have a good credit rating. If you don't, then you're going to have a low credit rating. You could be denied. They could deny you housing, or sometimes people even look into those things for your jobs and all sorts of things, right? So in some way, a credit score does affect us socially, but the social credit score takes it to the next level of things. The social credit score is based on your interactions with society, your social interactions with the people around you, right? And the idea being that you assign a score to each individual based on their health records, their arrest records, their search history on the internet, their social media history, a number of factors. And then, boop, you get a number. This is what you're valued at. This is what we see you as, right? And in that situation, that number will determine what resources, what services you have access to, right? And if you do positive behaviors, like let's say, take out your trash on time, pay your taxes on time, things of that sort, then your score stays nice and up. You might get a couple bonus points. But if you start littering, if you post, maybe you're one of those people who post disinformation on the internet. I've seen some of you out there. Your score goes down a little bit, right? Your score goes down. Maybe you go to the wrong kind of protest. Maybe you went to that freedom convoy, and your score goes down, right? And again, this number can determine what access you will have in society. This is not a theory. This is not a fiction, although it was in that TV show Black Mirror. Maybe some of you guys saw that. It seems familiar. But no, this is real life happening in China already and soon to be happening in other nations. Estonia is one of them. They're pretty much an all-digital nation. They're testing out things in smart cities in South Korea and other places. But in China already, it's called the Sesame Credit System. And in the last couple years, millions of Chinese residents have already been denied the right to fly out of their own country because their score was too low. People have been denied jobs, they've been denied promotions, they've been denied bank loans, all sorts of things because their scores were too low. Now, here's another thing specific to the China situation. Here's another way to boost your score. There's peak hours every day, and if you read Mao's little red book during those peak hours and you're showing you're a good, obedient, citizen to the state, you can get bonus points on your score. No lie, that's part of it. So let's say you're somebody that you're walking down the street, right? And you're living in China or somewhere similar, and you know that there are facial recognition cameras surrounding you in every direction. Because rest assured, guys, all this infrastructure we're talking about, Great Reset, technocracy, etc., facial recognition and AI is a crucial component, along with things like 5G and 6G, right? Because in order for them to be able to track everything you're doing to determine if you're doing the right things, well, they need to be able to see you everywhere you go. And they need to be able to log your phone. They need to be able to log your internet history, right? We need to be able to make sure you're making the right purchases on your central bank digital currency. You guys are hearing that term more and more, I'm sure, right? The United States, just yesterday, Biden issued an executive order saying they're going to study a central bank digital currency in the U.S. Even Mexico has claimed they're going to try to initiate a central bank digital currency by 2024. We'll see how that develops. The point is, so you're in this situation where you know you're surrounded by cameras, but you're in a hurry. So you decide to go ahead and jaywalk and just run across the street, right? Even though you know you're supposed to wait till you get to the intersection, you run across the street, and just as soon as you do, one of these cameras is scanning your face. They've immediately identified who you are in the system and that you've just broken the rules. You automatically lose points on your social credit score. But also, since they have these digital billboards around, sometimes what they'll do is they'll immediately plaster your face around there to show people this antisocial person just ran across the street, shame them, right? And let's kind of take this situation even deeper. Somebody like myself, I live as free from this system as possible. It's not easy, it's not difficult, and I want to go further. But I haven't used a bank account since 2008. I don't have a relationship with the tax agency of my home country, is about as plain as I'm going to say that. And many other things like that, right? So maybe in my case, I say, who cares? I don't care what they can give me a 0 for all I care, right? I don't need their services. We're growing our own food. We got our own land. We're educating our kids. I don't need their systems. So cool, they can give me a 0. But I do like to go visit my mom once a month. And my mom is still a part of that system. And again, this is 100% how they're already implementing it in China, and this is the big picture. This is where the social engineering comes in. This is just like with the COVID shot. You can't work here unless you get it, can't come here. They're hoping that we crack under the pressure to submit to whatever it is they want. And now that they've seen that a lot of people will, they might play that game again for something else. So I come see my mom from our monthly visit, and afterwards, a couple days later, she contacts me and says, son, my score just went down a little bit, and I told her, well, Mom, yeah, it's, they're rating me low because they say I'm antisocial. Just don't worry about it, Mom. And she says, okay, she doesn't worry too much about it because you see the system doesn't just affect you. It's about the people you interact with as well, right? So it will penalize the people around you if they are hanging out with an antisocial person, right? So then I come for my second monthly visit. Same thing happens. Mom's score goes down again. I get a phone call afterwards, and she's like, son, I love you, but I'm up for this job promotion coming up, and if I don't have at least a 560, I'm not going to get that job. So can you please just come around in about 5 or 6 months? Like, just give me a little space. You think those things won't happen? They're already happening with COVID, right? And that's without a number attached to you. That's without this digital infrastructure where people's lives are dependent on that, right? And that's just one fictional scenario, but those things are already happening. Those are potentials that we have to deal with. Why do we need to spend time talking about that? To know how to navigate that situation. That's what How to Opt Out of the Technocratic State was about. How do we, if we know that facial recognition is coming into full-on bloom, and then the sad thing is that some of us, and if this is you and it triggers you, use it as a sign for potential growth. We're putting the damn things in our own houses with Amazon Echoes and Google Homes. And if you're doing the Ring doorbell camera, my friends, you need to look into the fact that, for one, Amazon owns that, and they're already giving access to police to those things. And it might seem like a convenient way to see if somebody steals the package on your front door, but you have to remember, it can also see your neighbor who's across the street. And what they're building is a digital surveillance network that we're voluntarily giving them access to by saying, sure, the cops can access my doorbell camera. Sure, the cops can have access to these things. And if you have Echo in your house or any of those things, they're listening 24/7. Take your Samsung smart TVs, throw them in the trash. Or, I don't know, do something productive with them. Don't put them in the earth. Do something better with them. Or use them, put them in the background of a podcast and tell people the truth about. Like, do that. That's more productive, right? But the point is, in many ways, we are voluntarily walking into this, right? So far, there hasn't been any guns to our heads saying, adopt all this technology. We just went crazy. We just love it. Yes, give as much as we want. But now we're also at a time and place, and I'm speaking mainly to us who are coming from so-called first world nations, because again, Mexico is behind in a lot of these things. Mexicans have smartphones. There's internet. But there's also large parts of this country where you can go to where those things are nowhere to be seen. And there's not a camera, let alone a facial recognition camera, nowhere in sight, right? And they can try to install 5G through all these concrete buildings. It's going to be a fun experiment in the coming years. But so it can happen in Mexico. It's already happening in many of the places that we're coming from. It's right here on the horizon. Again, I will remind you, they call it Agenda 2030. That doesn't mean it's going to be complete by 2030, but that's their goal. Their goal is the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals by 2030. This includes a digital ID for every person on the planet. This includes vaccinating the world. This includes all these things that we're aware of, right? So let's think, if we're in the third month of 2022 and we have that, knowing that that's their vision, it's time for us to get to know our vision, right? Because again, without knowledge of where we're headed and what we're trying to do, we will walk right into their world. If you allow the fear to paralyze you and you refuse to act, you're only going to hurt yourself and your family and make things much more difficult in the coming years. So if we see this system on the horizon and we want to stay free from it and we want to make sure these young ones have an option, right? Because the way I see it is I want to make sure my nieces and nephews at least have a different option. Their vision, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy, right? That was published in 2016 on the World Economic Forum website and Forbes magazine. They've since tried to hide it, but we know that that's what they believe in. And has anybody actually read that little essay, You'll Own Nothing to Be Happy? I encourage you to go find it. You can just search Forbes magazine. It's still out there. But what it is, it's a woman from 2030 looking back on our time and sort of reflecting on how society has changed, right? And she says things like, we don't have privacy anymore, but I'm happy. You know, little things like, sometimes I miss the privacy we used to have before this world, but things are so convenient now. We've got driverless cars, and she's kind of trying to sell us on the finer points of technocracy. And the thing that really sucks about it is because I'm not here as somebody who's anti-technology by any means. I use technology every day. It's a tool, and this tool can be used for good or ill. The problem is the predator class, these people who believe that they rule the world, the powers that wish they were, they have different aims than those of us who use technology. We want to use it to connect with our families. We want to use it to build new projects, to help the people around us, right? To maintain privacy, to build better connections. They want to use it to spy, to control, to track, trace, and monitor, right? To disrupt, to distract. Like, these are the tools and the things they believe in. So we have the opportunity to decide which role we're going to play within this. They want us to believe that in the future, this you'll own nothing and be happy. That humanity slowly just gives up our privacy in the name of technology, in the name of driverless cars. I'm not against driverless cars per se, but do you think there's going to be any privacy in that smart vehicle? No. If you have OnStar, they're already listening to you 24/7 anyways, right? That's one thing. The driverless car could also just drive you straight to the jailhouse if they want. It could also just turn off whenever they want, right? It could, be a lot of control given up, and that's the danger. I guess my point here is that we have to think as individuals, as empowered, honest individuals, about the ways that we are interacting with technology. I'm not here to tell you what to do and what not to do. I'm not saying come live out on the edges and the fringe with me. I'm saying figure out, knowing all that we see right here, it's up to you. If from this point on, we do nothing, knowing all that we know, because you guys all said, you know the Great Reset, you know technocracy, this is not an uninformed crowd. You guys know what's up. So there's nobody else coming, guys. There's no Avengers or X-Men or The Matrix, Neo. It's us. It's us. It is literally us, which honestly, I think that is a beautiful thing. Anybody else feel like this is the time you were born for? Like this is why you're here? I know this is why I'm here. Yeah, let's give it up for that, because this is our moment to shine. This is our moment to shine, to create and manifest the world that we want to see. We have, what age range do we have here? We haven't done this on the tour, but it's nice to do this and kind of get a sample of it. We have anybody in their 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 80s, down to, how old are you, sir? 11. And I've seen some other smaller ones running around as well. 80s to 11 and under. Think of the knowledge and the wisdom and the power just in this room right here, my friends. If you look around this room and you see people you don't know yet, make sure tonight, we came here to share some things, but make sure you don't go home without making new connections. That's what really matters, because tomorrow we're on to the next town to try to activate some more people. And we would love to come back to Ziwa, because we love Ziwa and Ixtapa, and connect with you guys and see the beautiful projects that you start from tonight, right? So we have this potential right now. We get to decide what comes next. Will the only future that this young man has is the option of you'll own nothing and be happy? Or will all of us put aside our division, our bickering, our doubts, our fears, and build something else? It's already happening. I mean, that's the beautiful thing. If you're plugged in, it is happening. It is happening. So many people are waking up. So many people are coming up with solutions and ideas and different frontiers. But we need everybody, right? And we need to step out of the fear. We need to step out of the apathy into the solutions. Now, if you read that piece about you'll own nothing and be happy, like I say, they describe the scary future that some of us, it doesn't really sound like a vision most of us want. But there's a section in there that says they live different kinds of lives outside the city. Okay. And in this section it says, she says, you know, sometimes I worry about the people we left behind, the people who technology moved too fast for, or they didn't like the political moves, and she kind of says things like that. She says, they live different kinds of lives outside the city. They live in 18th and 19th century villages and towns outside. And of course, I'm sure they would be telling these people, don't go out there, COVID-19 is rampant, and it's Omicron X is out there, and whatever they're dreaming up, right? While we're out there with free-range kids, eating good food, clean water, permaculture paradise, healthy relationships, building the world that we know is possible. Even these sick, twisted people know that not all of us are going to go along with it. And we could sit here and question, well, what happens when you get your land and they just Waco you and they just come take you out, right? Well, if you want to live in fear and do nothing, that's up to you. But I refuse to act from a place of knowing and trust that this is what we're here for. This is what we're meant to do, right? So it's either we stand by and do nothing, and it's you'll own nothing and be happy. Rest assured, that's what they're working on. Or it's let's see what other beautiful things we can create. Let's see what the multitude of human diversity can create in this space that is really unknown. You know, we don't know what comes next. That's the exciting thing. We get to be the designers of that. So that's what I'm focused on. And Dr. Wolf was talking earlier about detoxing, and I'm glad the way he was describing it, it is similar to a presentation I give talking about holistic detoxing. And the process I took myself through when I was in prison was really doing this, what I call a holistic self-assessment. And again, that's also downloadable for free on my website, or there's books over there. But it's the process I took myself through in prison. And this is the process that I want to encourage each of you to consider in the face of what we're facing. Because when you do this holistic look and you start to do a holistic detox, which essentially means you identify the pieces of your life that are not in alignment with your values, with who you really are as a person. Don't just talk about it on the internet. Don't just believe that you are this moral, beautiful being, but live it. Actually live it, right? Don't just talk about it. Don't just write about it. Be about it. So let's go through this process a little bit, because I think you'll see how it relates to what we're facing in this technocratic world. One of the simplest ways you can start to become more in line with your values is in the area of technology, right? There are people even within this community who are working with and promoting tools that are alternatives to the mainstream phone systems, right? There are people, some of you might know Ramiro Romani, who I work with at the Greater Reset. His website is takebackourtech.org. He's got guides on Linux, and all kinds of things that if you're a noob, like this is a good place to start. Videos and written articles. You can stop using Google. That's a huge step. And maybe you say, well, my whole life's on there, Derek. I've got all my documents on Google Drives. Is that the level of action we're willing to take? Sorry, I'm going to be inconvenienced. Well, that's it. We have to be willing to push past our doubts, fears, and insecurities. And I really want to say this. In order for us to get to where we need to go, you're going to have to work with people maybe you never thought you would work with. You're going to have to push past those fears, those feelings that tell you, just stay home. There's no reason to go out. Just stay home. There's nothing you can get out of that. Don't work with those people. It's easier just to stay static, to be comfortable. And comfort is the enemy at times. There's nothing wrong with allowing yourself comfort and relaxation. But in my life, I've had to learn to battle that, to not allow myself to slip into complacency. Comfort can turn into complacency. And again, I think that people have been so comfortable for so long. We've got food in the fridge. We've got 1,000 channels on TV. You got the internet. Yeah, there's bad things happening out there, but everything's still calm here. But now that it's in our face, more of us are thinking proactively, right? So technology is one of the easiest places to start. Switch your search engine, switch your browser. It's going to take a little bit of research. It's going to take looking at some of these other areas, especially if this is not your forte, this is not your strong point. But that's a simple step, doesn't cost any money, really, doesn't really take much effort. And then now you're a little bit more in line with your values. You're not supporting the very people who are working against us, right? Because if you go to weforum.org/partners, worldeconomicforum.org/partners, and every single one of the banks that you guys are using is listed there. PayPal is listed there. Many of the major institutions and organizations and corporations that we might shop at or support are listed there. So think about that. We'll move from technology for a moment to the financial system. When you keep your money in these banks, and this is just the banks in general, but let's relate it to the Greater Reset. When you keep your money in these banks, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but because of fractional reserve banking, they don't have to keep any of your actual money in there. They take it, they invest it in all kinds of projects. Yes, when you go to the bank to get it, it will be there for you. But in the meantime, by using those banks, and again, these are the banks that robbed the entire world in 2008, bankrupted millions of people, and we could go back before that, have been robbing the people blind for hundreds of years. And I'm not here to judge, but why the heck are we still using them? Convenience? Oh, I get a direct deposit from my account. My Social Security check goes in there. It's right by my house. There's all kinds of things. Not here to judge, not here to tell you what to do. But if we aim to actually align thoughts, words, and actions, which is the only thing that's really going to change the world, talking's not enough, thinking's not enough, pretending is not enough, actually aligning these things, then we need to aim for consistency, right? And we need to want to hold each other accountable to say, you're doing amazing work. I see the ways that you're trying to get away from this system, and it's not easy. It's not going to happen overnight. You don't go from being $50,000 in debt, having a 401k, having a mortgage, and all this stuff, to totally free from the system overnight, right? It takes time to start reworking your life and thinking how you can still live a normal life without supporting these systems. And that is something that I've tried to navigate over the last 12 years or so. But when it comes to the financial system, again, let's say you're using HSBC, a bank connected to human trafficking, drug running, all kinds of things, right? For whatever reason, let's put our money in there. Okay, they're also listed on the World Economic Forum website. So when you go put your money in their bank, you literally might be funding Great Reset projects. You might be funding the very thing that you are hoping to get away from. Just a moment of awareness. You decide what to do with that information. But it's all about trying to get more consistency. Again, this is a holistic self-assessment. Okay, well, let me look at my technology. Let me look at my financial area. But let's take it a little more personal, into the interpersonal relationships. This process actually starts with a simple question. Who am I? How can we even know the vision that we want, this alternative vision for the Great Reset, technocracy, etc., if we don't even know who we are? Of course, that is a lifelong journey, I assume. I've only been here 37 years, and it's been a fun one so far. But I feel like I'm getting closer to an answer. But by doing that internal healing, that introspection, you get to know yourself better. And from there, you get to the next question. What are my principles? What are my values? How often have we actually stopped and really thought about that? I think that most people, generally speaking, probably think, I'm a good moral person. I do good things. I don't hurt people. But have you consciously stopped and think, well, what are the values that guide me, though, on a day-to-day basis, right? And if you don't know that, then oftentimes you're making decisions just sort of on a whim or from an emotional state Whereas a principle and a value is supposed to be like a foundation that you build from, right? I told you earlier one of my principles, the principles of self-ownership. I recognize that in all of you, right? And I expect that, and you are giving me that mutual respect. None of you are coming over here and punching me in the face or trying to steal from me or, disrespecting my bodily autonomy. We're giving that mutual respect. That's my first foundational principle. Second foundational principle is the 7 generations that I think I mentioned earlier. This comes from our indigenous communities, and this is what Miriam and I have been learning from our elders as we pursue our own connection to our family's indigenous past. And we've been taught to think not about only what's happening right here in front of us, but how it's going to impact the 7 generations coming after us and beyond, right? So that's our children, our great-grandchildren, great-great-grandchildren, great-great-grandchildren. People we will never meet are 100% depending on us right now. Do you understand that? Do you recognize that? We do nothing, you'll own nothing and be happy, and that's what they're going to be born into. Social credit score, smart city, etc. It's in the cards. People are working night and day on this. They may have changed the storyline this week in North America, Russia, war with Ukraine, right? They may have changed the storyline, but the agenda is still the same. And if you're paying any attention, it's probably a good time to start getting food because prices are going to go up and they're telling us all these things, right? And it's easy to blame it on Russia or to blame it on COVID-19, but ultimately this is a part of their agenda to remake or reset the entire system. They're just using every excuse they can. Knowing this, do we choose to do nothing or do we choose to think of those coming 7 generations and think how we can best leave a world for them that is even worth being born into, that is even worth living, right? And let's apply this concept backwards. I think of my father, first generation, my grandfather, my great-grandfather, and on 7 generations back, my ancestors that came before me and all that they had to put in, right? So that's another foundational principle for me. Self-ownership, 7-generation principle, and there are more, right? But the point is, once you start to understand these things and you can really clearly see, these are the things that I make my decisions from. Every decision I make springs back from, is this causing harm to another person? Is this infringing on somebody else's freedom? Okay. It is, I need to rethink this. What's the other path? How can I approach this and still stay in line with my values, right? So that's the big part is first you got to know who you are, know who your principles are, and then from there you can jump to looking at, so who you are, your values or principles, you start identifying your goals, right? My goal is to not live in the you'll own nothing and be happy world. That's one of my goals. My goal is to build a beautiful, intentional community, eco-village, permaculture paradise that's going to be a school where we help train people to learn those skills and educate other people, where we grow food, where we hold workshops, where we teach each other skills. That's the vision. That's one of my goals. That's what I'm working for, right? And I've been working night and day for the last 4 years to bring it into existence. And thankfully, by the time this tour's wrapping up, we'll probably be going home to close a deal on this property and beginning the project that I call the Conscious Agora. So we're really excited about that. Thank you. My point is that I know the goal, and I'm putting everything I can into it. We need to learn more, so we take a permaculture certification course. We take different courses, pick up skills, so that when we get the land, we're prepared, we have the skills. We need to network with others. We need to work with our elders, those who've been doing community for years before us. We went and visited Huehue Cayoto near Tepoztlan. They're one of the oldest intentional communities in Mexico. They've been there for 30-something years. And we interviewed Tonya. You can find this on my website if you're interested. It's a very, very informative interview from a woman who's been living in community for 30 years. And I just kind of picked her brain for an hour. But we're learning from elders. We're trying to do everything we can to bring that goal into existence, right? So who am I? What are my principles? What are my goals? You know, what is your goal if it's not to raise children in the you'll own nothing and be happy world? What does it look like? Do you even have the vision yet? Can you describe it? Have you drawn it? Have you written it down? Have you talked with friends and family? Like, where are we aiming? We came here from Canada. We came here from Austria or Australia or the US. What's next? I mean, a lot of us are in flux. We're trying to figure that out right now, right? But we need to hold on to that vision and know what you're aiming for if you're going to get there. And then we get to the steps where I was discussing, okay, well now I have a better sense of who I am, what my principles are, what my goals are. Then you start to look into your daily habits. And this is where it gets fun. Because you can have the goal, permaculture paradise, free-range kids, healthy eating, start a restaurant, buy land, whatever you envision. But if there's no action behind it, again, aligning thoughts, words, and actions, then you're not going to achieve those goals. And sometimes when I share this, I feel like, am I dumbing this down too much? But I know for me, sometimes it's helpful to just like look at how simple things really are. Like, we can wish for a better world all we want, but if we don't actually do anything to bring that into existence, it's probably not going to happen. It's just as simple as that. You can have the goal, I want to work on my beach body, so by the time I hit Ziwa in the summer, I'm looking nice and sexy, but then every day when you wake up and you're eating pizza and playing video games till 3 a.m., there's some disconnect, right? You probably won't achieve that goal. It's just as simple as that. So if we have these big picture goals, but we see, you know, I want to get land and homestead with my family, but I keep hearing about this permaculture thing, but I actually haven't ever even looked up what that word means or watched a permaculture documentary or read a book or even an article, right? There's a disconnect between our alleged desires and goals and what we're doing, and that is where the magic is. If we each start working on that, individually and collectively, on aligning our thoughts, words, and actions, we will achieve the goals we want. And if the goals we want include creating a better world for the coming generations, we can achieve that, my friends. But if we stay in fear, if we stay in apathy, if we assume somebody else is going to do it, we see a lot, Miriam and I see a lot of this, even in our community of awakened, enlightened people who are like, oh, I have this great idea, and they'll come to us and tell us about it. We're like, cool, let us know when you do it and we'll promote it. And they're like, no, me? Not me. I couldn't do anything like that. No, we need you. We are here to help activate, motivate, inspire, whatever you want to say you. We want to be inspired by you. We want to be activated by you. We want to collaborate in building this better world. To do that, my friends, you need to look at each of these areas. So once you align thoughts, words, and actions, you understand your principles, your values, you look at your goals, then you start inspecting your daily habits. Again, my goal is to not support this slave system through the central bank digital currency. Okay, maybe I should rethink the fact that I'm using Chase Bank. Maybe I should finally look into a local credit union. Maybe I should just stuff it in my mattress because that's even a better solution. Maybe I should buy a safe. Maybe I should invest in silver or crypto or whatever you're interested in. The point is actually taking practical steps, because sitting by and doing nothing and just letting those people, now you can see it. Before, maybe you could understand, yeah, I get it philosophically, Derek, but it's still convenient. But now they're freezing your bank accounts. Now it's becoming clear. It's becoming so clear to people why many of us are saying the answer is to not be in the system. Especially, I'll say this, so many Mexicans who come to the US, as Miriam's family did, they see it as you're finally a person when you get your business license or you got your paperwork. Yay, celebrate, now I'm a part of the system. And that is what the Bill Gateses and the technocrats of the world want. They look at Mexico and India and they say, we're coming to save the unbanked of the world. We're going to give them all digital IDs and make sure that they have access to this new central bank digital currency. Because since those people don't have access to bank accounts, it's so sad. So we're going to come in and save the day. That's their plan. This is literally what they're talking about. Look up the unbanked, that phrase, and you'll find a whole plethora of articles from philanthropists claiming they're here to save the world. It's another form of colonization as far as I'm concerned. And it's up to us, guys, to really decide where it's going to go. Once you start looking at your habits, your technology area, your financial area, to me that's how do you make your money, where do you spend your money. The old adage, vote with your dollar, right? We all get that idea, but this has to apply to every area of our lives, not just literally when you're spending money, but the kind of people you hang out with, the people you associate with, right? That's another part of the detox. Detoxifying from toxic relationships and people that are not lifting you up and calling you to be the best version of yourself. I had to really be honest with certain family members years ago when I was stepping into this path, when they were still trying to judge me and tell me how to live my life, and say, look, I only spend time with people who value me and we respect each other. And if you want to be in my life, then you need to stop trying to control me. You need to stop trying to tell me what to do. And that was enough. They got the message, and things have been great since then. Because we all deserve that. We all deserve to be in a space where we can be our free, beautiful selves and connect with other people in that way. We deserve to be around other people who want to lift us up, right? And many of us are having to find new families. Anybody feeling that way? Like you're discovering, or at least maybe not a whole new family, but at least new family members, right? We're meeting people just like us from all around the world. And I'm going to start to wrap up now. This process, though, I could go all night describing different areas, but the point is that each of you will know best where to start. If as I'm talking, you're thinking, he's right, I have 3 bank accounts, and I've got 5 credit cards, and I'm actually invested in Microsoft. I think I have a stock in the World Economic Forum, too. Is that even possible? You know, if you're having these conversations, then take that as a moment of reflection. I'm not here to attack or tell anybody what to do. I'm just here to say, if that's the reality, my friend, it will get more difficult as time goes on. We saw this with COVID, right? People who didn't want to get the shot were coerced because they needed a job, because they needed to keep paying the bills. And we can judge all we want from the sidelines, but when somebody's got to put food on the table and they haven't thought ahead, like we're talking about now, be proactive, don't let it happen to you, don't wait for it to happen, then all of a sudden they're in a situation where it's like, damn, I don't have any backup food to feed my family for a month where I figure this out. I don't have any other source of income. I don't have any money saved. I'm totally dependent on this job. So now I will be coerced to take, experimental therapy that I don't want to take. And I've met people on tour who had to do this. I also met really brave people who quit their jobs and left it all behind. And, again, you might have to switch entire career to stay free. There are people who told me, I was working in this field for 30 years and now I have to leave it because of what they're trying to force on me. I don't know what to do, but I'm trying to learn new skills. I can imagine how disempowering that's feel. You've given your whole life to a certain industry or a certain field just to have it smack you and turn you away, right? And the point though is that we have to be flexible. We have to be adaptable more than anything for the times that we are facing. I believe that the answer is to get out of these systems. It's a strategy that I call exit and build. Exiting from systems that are not in line with our values and building better ones. I'm not a tech guy. I don't build the apps, but when it comes to technology, I support other people who are doing those things, right? And so all of you have different skills and things that you're bringing to the table. I've felt for years, and I hope you guys recognize this, that we have everything we need within our own communities right here. Like if we took the time tonight to go around and talk to every single person and list the different skills and projects and things you have going on, or even people we would all know the perfect people for each other, the things we need to connect, and so much potential. Again, think about the age range, think about the potential here, the background, the ethnicities, the nationalities, so much opportunity just in this room, guys. And there are rooms like this all over the world. We saw them in the US, we're seeing them in Mexico. People just like us are looking for the solutions. And if we don't allow ourselves to be overcome by that fear, we can create those solutions. But it's going to take, I believe, exiting from systems that don't align with our values and building better ones. And the final point I want to make is about the Freedom Cell Network. As I said earlier, this is already happening. I've been promoting the idea of freedom cells, which is just local decentralized organizing. We focus on groups of 8. It doesn't necessarily have to be groups of 8, but there's some research behind that number being an ideal group size. But focusing on building local groups of 8 that can focus on food production. If you guys want to learn more about growing food, or you want to learn more about health, maybe you're a group of families and you want to unschool together, homeschool together, right? Maybe everybody in your freedom cell is getting older in age and you want to focus on things that apply more to you, and you want to collaborate with the other freedom cell that is made up of younger folks to see how y'all can support each other, how the older folks can share that wisdom while the younger folks can do the hard work. My point here is that as we build these local decentralized groups focused on solutions, skill sharing, knowledge sharing, this is decentralized, distributed. There's no one single person that's in charge. You bring everything you have to the table, share it and teach it with the rest of the group. And in times that we are in right now, it is also about preparation. And I want to say this about this idea. We've all heard or seen things like doomsday prepper, like this idea. Think about this. We're at a time and a place where being prepared is being demonized. Putting some food in your pantry to make sure in a tough time you've got some food is something to make fun of, right? Like that's kind of how the mainstream world treats it. But I know that my grandmother, who has grown up on a farm her entire life and just turned 85, that if she didn't prepare for the winter and bale hay so that the cows had food whenever the winter came, they would die, right? Every single one of our ancestors had to prepare and think ahead to get us here. And it's just as important for us to prepare for what we're facing. Doesn't mean we're preparing for the end of the world or the zombie apocalypse or doomsday or whatever. It's good to be prepared for example, where we're from, for a hurricane or a snowstorm, right? That's another area your freedom cell can step up, right? That's one thing we saw, is that these cells in Houston after the hurricane, people started decentralized rescues, boats just on their own. It wasn't the government. It was people just using walkie-talkies, connecting with each other to come help rescue people, bring supplies. There's so many ways this idea can be used. Permaculture, growing food, healing, meditation groups, self-defense, I believe as well. So many other ways that this idea can be used. And I've been promoting it for 5 years now. The website is freedomcells.org, freedomcells.org, like CELLS, like the cells in your body. Every single cell is unique and is powerful on its own. It's doing a job, but it's also a part of the larger ecosystem, which is you. And that's basically what the Freedom Cell Network is. We're building local decentralized cells, but there are cells popping up all over. And when bigger needs arise, the cells can link together and do bigger projects. So you end up with 8 groups of 8 people around a city. Think about all the action that can come from that. And like I said earlier, guys, this is happening. COVID-19 '84 has been the greatest gift to us. In January 2020, we had about 1,500 to 2,000 people on the website. Now there's over 31,000 people on the website, tens of thousands who are organizing on Telegram. Raise your hand if you're in the ZWA Freedom Cell. Look around if you see, guys, if you're not familiar with this, on Telegram, there's also Freedom Cells all over. If you go to Mexico Freedom Cell on Telegram, look at the pinned message. It has the list of all the different Freedom Cells that are organizing. This is a movement that has been growing rapidly. People are connecting. Some of them are social groups where people get together just to make sure, feel like they're not alone. Others are growing food. People that Miriam met on the tour told us before, when COVID was happening during the lockdown, I thought I was alone. Then I watched the Greater Reset, or I went to the Freedom Cells and I used the map. This is the main feature, using the maps. You put a profile, you can search members, you can find people that live near you, you can search cells and find the groups that are around you. People were telling us, I thought I was alone, and then I used the Freedom Cell Network and I met this whole new group of people. Now we're buying land together. We pulled our kids out of school together. We're pulling our money out of the banks. We're growing food together. Real, tangible, concrete steps. That is what it's gonna take. And that's what excites me, is that all we're doing is just creating the container to help people connect. Just like tonight. Like I said, if you see new faces, make the connection. Especially to our Spanish-speaking friends. Those of you who speak Spanish, go connect with them. Make sure they don't leave without being plugged in tonight. Right? The opportunity is here. It's just up to us to seize it because nobody else is coming along. We get to build it, and Freedom Cells is a part of that. I'm not saying we're the only movement out there. There's so many beautiful movements happening, but we are definitely having a lot of success growing internationally. And we just recently, through the Greater Reset, we raised about $15,000 US that is going to revamping the website and to translating it. We're going to have it in Spanish, German, French, Portuguese, at least a dozen languages, so that we can truly go international with this. Because right now it's all in English, and we want everybody all around the world. People are already using it, even though it's only in English. It's grown in India, Australia, Spain. I mean, at this point, we have no idea how big it is now. But the people who are most motivated are taking steps, and they are liberating themselves from these systems. And when these people try to tighten the screws, they won't be able to get us. They won't be able to, because we will be the people living different kinds of lives outside the cities. But we won't be some Mad Max, starving, walking through the desert kind of thing. No, we're going to be living in the permaculture paradises, thriving, building beautiful homes for these coming generations. My friends, that is our vision, and I hope you will join us with it. Huh? Selfie? Okay, we're gonna do a selfie. Guys, before you all leave, I know some of you are gonna head out. I encourage you to sign our shirt on the table if it's still up there. Is the shirt still up there, babe? It's right there. Cool, awesome. Yes, if you wanna sign that, we're gonna take that shirt all across Mexico. And I'm actually, if you guys got the patience for it, I think we're scheduled till 9. I'm gonna perform some of my music. You guys down with that? Is that okay? I believe you will enjoy it. Even if you don't like hip hop, the message is the same message you just heard. It's just in music form. So, you want to come up here and do that up here? We're going to do a quick selfie one more time. Thank you guys so much for your patience. I really appreciate it, your time. This means the world. And I want to share one more thing, that there was a woman that came up to me earlier to share her story, and several of you have done this to Miriam and I, and just telling us thank you because we did the Megxit webinar, because of something that one of us have done, inspired you or helped you. Like, that's the fuel that keeps us going. When people ask, how do we do this? Like, it's those stories, it's those connections, guys, because it helps us, and I know for me, I speak from doing this for a while, helps me realize that I'm not just talking to my computer screen, that there are real people out there paying attention, and that we are not alone, guys. So I just want to say thank you from the bottom of both of our hearts, that those messages of appreciation that you guys share and the hugs, they mean the world to us. Thank you, guys.
They really do, and the selfie might sound silly, but for other people out there that are watching our journey online and they see videos of a full room full of people who are on the same page, they feel more energized, they feel more inspired, they feel like, oh, I can do that, I can achieve that in my community. So let's do another selfie.
All right. Is it happening? All right, make some noise. Ow! Ow! Thank you guys so much. All right, let's see if this is the Bluetooth ready to go. I think we might try to do this. All right, guys, so excuse me while I step backstage. All right, I'm ready. Now I'm ready. My name is 33. I perform hip hop. I'll tell you all about why I chose that name in a moment. We're gonna play some songs for you today, and I think we're good to go. We're good to go. All right. So I started performing music 4 years ago when I was 33 years old. It's the year that my father died of a drug overdose that I told you guys about. And hip hop and these songs have just kind of been a way for me to heal and to share a story of going through some tough times, the things I told you guys about, but also to talk about how we can make it through those tough times. This first song is called Reflection. If you enjoy this, please feel free to come up close to me. I don't have whatever it was. All right. You can turn it up. I think it should be playing. Check 1, 2. Come on, guys, come up here with me. This is our last night here. We appreciate you so much.
People who have created this system and they perpetuate this system, they are out of balance. They have made us out of balance.
I woke up this morning feeling I had something to say. I got doubts on my mind. It's time to let them fly away. It's time to unlearn poison and heal broken hearts. Go back to the end. It's time for a fresh start. This is the place we can atone for our sins. This is the place where our hero's journey begins. A space between love and hate, where there's no escape from our fate. Rather than be irate, let's create, let's build the better world we know is possible. I've got no fear, cause we can overcome any obstacle. I stare all my demons in the face, I'll show you what's possible. I send love from my heart, I'm intuitive, not illogical. It's just that lately I've been searching for deeper meaning. I'm sick of drugs, booze, mindless sex, and criminal scheming. Feels like I should have more at this point in time. I'm talking knowledge, not money, I'm trying to feed my mind.
See, we are power. They deal in violence and repression. We are power. They tell us, they want us to believe that we are powerless.
I hope you hear these words from my mind, from my heart to your ears. We only got one life, guys. Let's do something beautiful for these kids. Open up all three of my eyes and fly to the heavens. During my meditation, I see my life in chapters of 7. I connect to my inner child to heal my wounds. I recall those I've lost to dope, gone too soon. My life flashes before me, a collage of joy and pain. I recall the highs, the lows. I swear I'm going insane. I'm trying to wrap my mind around this journey. Spent too much time worried about things that don't concern me. No more time wasted, not chasing my dreams. I wake up every day knowing this world ain't what it seems. We gotta make our own path, we gotta find our own meaning, cause we can't be sure, we might be dreaming. All I know is when I look in your eyes, I see myself. I'm just a reflection of your impression of my higher self. Could it be that our whole reason for being, our existence, is a lesson to teach us over and over until we get this? You are powerful, you are beautiful, and you are free. Shake off your chains, you were blind but now you see. Grandfather, help us remember where we come from. Grandmother, walk with us until the battle is won. I encourage you to listen to these words. These are the words of Native activist John Trudell. He passed away a couple of years ago. Please hear his words.
We are a natural part of the earth. We are an extension of that natural energy which is spirit and which is power. Power. And just as it takes millions and billions of elements to make a blizzard to happen or to make the earthquake, then it's going to take millions and billions of us. We are power. We have that power.
Thank you, guys. All right, thank you so much. So I recently started a Odyssey channel, and I did do a YouTube channel. Odyssey channel, 33 is here. I just put out a brand new music video for that song you just heard if you want to go check it out. I'm going to play my latest song, which is called Rising, or 33 is here. And, you know, hopefully you can tell I make an effort to enunciate and say these words as clearly as possible so you get the message, because it's important to me. I write these words for a reason, and words are one of my gifts. And, this is just another storytelling medium as far as I'm concerned. I'm trying to help those, especially the younger generations who might be influenced by music like hip hop, to recognize that, as I say in one of my songs, that wasted life is a waste of life. Because I remember when I was younger, even early 20s, it's like a mantra of like, yeah, let's just go get fucked up and party, right? And then after a while, you realize you're kind of wasting things, right? So I had to get past that and discover that there was a bigger purpose for myself, and I want to use music as a way to help people see that you can go through some of those tough times and come out on the other side, and also have a lot of fun. So this song is called Rising. This is my most hype song, so come up here, dance with me. I need everybody. I don't care how old you are, 80 to 11, get up here. Thank you guys. This song is called Rising, aka 33 is here. Let's get it going. All right. Check. Yeah, let's bring that one up a little bit if we can. Here we go. Check 1, 2. 33. No matter what they say, they can't hold us back. We got too much to do. I'm never gonna stop, man, I'ma keep rising. I'm too strong to kill, I'ma keep fighting. I live every day like it's gonna be my last, and I keep on rising cause I'm better than my past. I'm never gonna stop, man, I'ma keep rising. I'm too strong to kill, I'ma keep fighting. I live every day like it's gonna be my last, and I keep on rising cause I'm better than my past. I'm better than my past and I'm never going back to the place where it all went black. I lost myself for a minute, now I see the truth in me, and it's hard to believe. It felt like time was just slipping away, like I'm stuck in a loop, same shit every day. There's better days ahead, I can feel it in my bones. I need to find a way out and stop selling stones. Someone told me that we choose the life we live. Our souls knew the path before we're even kids. I wonder why my soul took the hard road. Of all the paths to choose, I chose the unknown, but I wouldn't take it back, man, I'm never going back. I'm loving my life, no secrets to unwrap. I broke free of my scars and prison bars. I'll say it again, man, I'm aiming for the stars. I'm never gonna stop, man, I'ma keep rising. I'm too strong to kill, I'ma keep fighting. I live every day like it's gonna be my last, and I keep on rising cause I'm better than my past. I'm never gonna stop, man, I'ma keep rising. I'm too strong to kill, I'ma keep fighting. I live every day like it's gonna be my last, and I keep on rising cause I'm better than my past. What's left to do when you can manifest anything? There's nothing I can't overcome, this is my dream. I found the power deep in my own struggle. Was hiding from myself, living a double life. Got no time for death, I stared her down. Ate the pill, slit the wrist, even tried to drown. There's nothing you can say to hold me back. Say it now, 33 is here and I'm on the attack. I ain't no great white, but I'm out for blood. The sins and the other criminals up to no good. I'm coming for the ones who think they own the people. They work to mold the minds, tending to the sheeple. But we're the realization of the creator's vision. It's time for us to change the world, let it begin. This is our time to design with our hearts. We're creating the world of the future, and I'm doing my part. Never gonna stop, man, I'ma keep rising. I'm too strong to kill, I'ma keep fighting. I live every day like it's gonna be my last, and I keep on rising cause I'm better than my past. I'm never gonna stop, man, I'ma keep rising. I'm too strong to kill, I'ma keep fighting. I live every day like it's gonna be my last, and I keep on rising cause I'm better than my past. And I'm never gonna stop, cause I'm too strong to kill, and I'm better than my past. Thank you guys so much. Yeah. Yeah. Ow! Yeah. Hey, give it up for homeboy up here. You're feeling it, man. Thank you, brother. You're the motivation I need. All right. You guys got time for a couple more? You want to hear a couple more? Okay, so let me see if I can find this on here. Whew. You can find my music at soundcloud.com/33 is here, or on Odyssey elsewhere. Just search 33 is here and you'll find these songs. Well, that was hype. That was good. Okay, we're going to slow it down a little bit. This song is, well, let's just play the song and I'll tell you the story through the song. How about that? This one is maybe a little darker, but the message of hope is in there, and I hope you hear it. It's called Another Cage. Playing. Should be playing. Is it up on your end? There we go, back a little bit. Is it still connected? I think it might be disconnected on my end.
Sorry about that. All right, let's see if we can get this on a play real quick. Sorry about that wait, guys. Well, believe it or not, this thing just died. You want me to just perform it a cappella? I can just do it that way. All right, we've been doing this lately because I haven't had the right equipment. Okay, it's back on now. We can still do it a cappella if you want, though. I have one that is a cappella, but it's got a couple of curse words in it. It's for a purpose, though, so if you're okay with that, we could do that one. But let's get into some of these other songs first. I try not to use curse words, cuss words, whatever you want to say, unless it has a kind of an element to what I'm talking about. This song, we're going to switch song. This one is called Same Mother, and it's basically about what I was saying, that, you know, we recognize we all come from the same place. Oh, it's still not connected to your Bluetooth. I don't know why. It was just connected. I don't know why it's switched up. The damn technocracy it's Bill Gates messing with me, man. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Let's do it. You guys ready? I got one more before I lose all y'all. Okay, this song's called Same Mother. And again, it's just these simple realizations that we all come from the same place. No matter which way you cut it, how you slice it, we come from the same place. I'm the new hip-hop king, waiting to be crowned. Another election passes and you're still voting on clowns. You think you made a difference, but you're a fake resistance. Keep voting for evil and you might get sick. How many times must we play this game? They're washing our brains, they're watching us kill ourselves, we're under siege. And I don't mean to offend, but if you hate free speech, you can get fucked. You can get fucked with the rest of the mob and all those who treat politicians like gods. You need to wake up, join the fight against evil. And I don't mean Trump or the average people. I'm talking about the hidden hand, the deep state, the ones you don't see who are robbing from your plate. The banksters, gangsters, murderers, and mobsters were being ruled by psychopathic monsters. The pedos in the Vatican, they're doing it again. The CIA, the NSA, and the Zionist clan. They got the plan to keep you trapped in fear. Can't you see, my friends, the Great Reset is here? And I'm not talking about some rich man's plan. I'm saying we can manifest the promised land. If we stop hating and killing each other, maybe we'll see that we have the same mother. Think about that, guys. Same place, same blood. Some of us right now are in a country we're not born in, but the people around us, they're just like us, just waiting for you to connect with them. Let's do it again. I should slow down before I scare you away. I don't want to lose you before you hear what I have to say. I ain't got no diamonds, I ain't got no drip. All I got's my body, soul, and tribe I roll with. Only thing I do is spit the truth and bend reality. It's a neat trick, manifest and you'll see anything you want. You can have health or wealth. It's time to wake up and love yourself. Love yourself, release the demons you befriended. They're gonna hold you back, man, it's an early ending. I promise you, we deserve better than we seem. It's up to us to overcome and create our dreams. I've been to the bottom, met my demons and fought them. Hiding from my trauma, man, drugs, I got them. Bury my pain and dope till I can't stand up. I might be puking, but keep pouring in my cup. But that wasted life is just a waste of life. We need to wake up and see we are made of light. I know in my heart, we're here for a purpose. I can see the truth rising to the surface. Don't you see it? The future's in our hands. It's time to find out where everyone stands. If we stop hating and killing each other, maybe we'll see that we have the same mother. Thank you, guys. It's my young protege right here. All right, I think I can throw one more at y'all if y'all got the time for it. We go hit that bonfire. Who's about to get some juice? I heard there's mezcal out there. Y'all be careful if y'all hit that mezcal. Be safe. All right, I think I got one more. I'll do one more for you guys so we can settle down after this. This song is called Till Tomorrow Comes. And I want to ask you, if you can still hear my voice, have you ever found yourself in a position where you're in a room full of people and you're just asking yourself, how the heck did I get here? Who are these people? You know, one way or another you found yourself there. Hopefully it's not this room tonight. I used to have those experiences when I was on drugs and I was around people who I thought cared about me, but later I would find out they really didn't. They were just in their own struggle. And often I would be in this room full of people and I would be asking myself, why am I here? Why am I here? I knew I was supposed to be here with you guys. But then somebody would pass me a joint or pass me some plate of something else,
And I'd say, whatever, I'll worry about that tomorrow. That's what this song is about, knowing that there's a better place for you, but I'll worry about that tomorrow. This is called Till Tomorrow Comes. Guys, this is my last song. Come up here with me if you hear my voice. Come dance with my brother right here. He's holding it down for all of y'all. All right, this song's called Till Tomorrow Comes. It's my last one, guys. 33. Oh no, now we're dealing with this again. Dealing with this. Damn technocracy. Technocracy is really trying to mess with me tonight, guys. Y'all know how it's old Klaus Schwab. All right, here we go. I don't know why she wants to keep disconnected. Hey, will you set this closer to them on the table? Let's see if that connects. Can you start it over? If you hit that button and just hit back. Yeah, this is the jam right here. Okay. All right, you can sit. All right, guys, this is my last song. This is called Till Tomorrow Comes. Much love. Come up here, hang out with me, Miriam, and I appreciate you guys. You know, I've been thinking about where I've come from and where I've been, and I really don't feel as crazy as I used to, but I know some of you might be going through some tough times, so this song goes out to you. Man, I ain't gonna lie, I ain't even slept in a week. I've been too busy counting pills to be counting sheep. See, recently, things have been moving fast for me. I'm swimming deep, no regrets, this ain't blasphemy. I got no time for flakes, cause I'm head and shoulders above the rest of these clowns, trying to destroy what I love. See, truth is, most days, I can't even feel my heartbeat. I'm just going through the motions, searching for the real me. Hello? Are you in there? Can you hear me calling for help? You know when you're in a crowd, but feel like it's just yourself? That's my daily battle, my power and my curse. But I won't stop fighting till I'm rocking in that hearse. Even on my worst days, I can't help but smile. Yeah, the struggle is real, but the journey's worth every mile. Yo, that's not to say that I don't have my dark moments. Sometimes I think of ending my life, cause it don't make sense. And I don't know if I'ma make it through the night. And I'm too tired to put up a fight. I got big dreams, not chasing crumbs. But I'll just wait until tomorrow comes. And I don't know if I'ma make it through the night. And I'm too tired to put up a fight. I got big dreams, not chasing crumbs. But I'll just wait until tomorrow comes. I'm way too young to feel this loss, false idol. I've been feeling this way too long, suicidal. I can't help but notice this dope clears my mind. Maybe it's the key to the happiness I can't seem to find. But nah, if I was seeking clarity, I just need to look inside, find a quiet space, talk to Creator, confide that I feel like I'm losing my grip on this world. I can't tell if I'm supposed to be here with this girl. I mean, it feels good right now, but what about tomorrow? They passing the blunt my way, no time for sorrow. Anyways, what was I saying? By the way, who are you? I really hope I get to ride this high to somewhere new. Elevate myself to heights previously thought impossible. I keep making mistakes, but I'm trying to be responsible. It feels like things are going too fast, I can't keep up. I need a pause, my anxieties are starting to creep up. Now I don't know if I'ma make it through the night. And I'm too tired to put up a fight. I got big dreams, not chasing crumbs. But I'll just wait until tomorrow comes. And I don't know if I'ma make it through the night. And I'm too tired to put up a fight. I got big dreams, not chasing crumbs. But I'll just wait until tomorrow comes. I've never been good at hiding my state of mind. I've got no poker face, I'm just playing blind. It's hard not to think about everything I've lost, knowing that my pride and my joy, they were the cost. I really should start thinking about my failing health. Maybe stop focusing on trying to build wealth. Are there really better days up on the horizon? It feels so bleak, darker days are where I've been. And I don't know if I'ma make it through the night. And I'm too tired to put up a fight. I got big dreams, not chasing crumbs. But I'll just wait until tomorrow comes. Thank you guys so much. Much love. Very much appreciate you. From the bottom of our hearts, we love you guys. Thank you so much. Let's have fun.